1:38 o'clock.
From coast to coast and around the world, you're tuned to the Sportcat Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You have the one, the only Sportcat. And, well, we are the paranormal guys, but apparently I'm the paranormal guy. So I'm all alone. Oh, well, hello, Brenda. Yeah, well, as you can tell, I'm in Knoxville. And my 9 o'clock guest is apparently AWOL. I don't know what happened to him. And my co-hosts were all busy, so I went live, and you got me for the next 58 minutes to just enjoy the chat with. So, well, there are... yeah, well, I did. And I'm going to try and grow it back, I think. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But, so, I'm not sure that a lot of you know, but I am also trying to do a weekday show, Monday through Friday. It's postponed for the moment, but it will be on at 1400, 2 o'clock Eastern time. And I'm doing a little bit of news stuff. So, so if you get a chance, check that out. That's going to be something new and unusual. And then, well, during the week, we're still going to have the Two Broke Witches on Monday. And then we're going to have the Paranormal Guys on Wednesday night. Hopefully it won't just be the Paranormal Guy. I would say I'm definitely not normal. And then Saturday, we are still going to have the Misfits. I'm not sure if we're going to have one this weekend or not. I haven't heard from Cheyenne. Thank you, Soul. I appreciate that. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. And so we'll have that on Saturdays as the Misfits. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing the Misfits this weekend because, well, it's NFL weekend. So I'm not sure that I'll be on, but Cheyenne may be on. So, well, I do have some good news. I will not be alone. Miss Ann Charles has just joined the studio backstage, and she is the author that I've been talking up for so long. And so let's just bring her out because I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing me talk. So, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. How about you? Can you hear me?
I can. I was just tuning in to watch your first guest, and I heard you say that you were alone. So I thought, well, I'll sign in and see if you want to start early.
Hey, why not? I'm always welcome to have beautiful ladies there. So, hey, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm normally associated. I guess I should qualify that. I normally have two other young ladies on the screen with me, but one's at work and one's at a dinner date with her husband, and I don't know where they all else ran off to. I can't keep up with my women, so. So, and you've got so many books out. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, now remember, I just jumped in, so
that's right. That's right. You're going cold.
I'm going cold. I hadn't even thought about stuff. I've been writing for over a decade. I started back in like early 2000s, late 1900s. That's how old I am. Yes, and I didn't publish my first one till early 2011. But since then, I have published, I think, with the series that I co-write with my husband as well, which there's 5 of those plus a Christmas novella. I think I'm around 36 books are out now. I'm not fast. I know a lot of people that started as, long ago as I did, really, have quite a catalog, but I write long books. They're over 100K usually. And so it takes me 4 months or so to write a story, and then in another month to go through the whole editing processing and, our process and get everything out. So I have 5 different ongoing series that I currently write. I would like to write some other series, but I kind of need to, I think, keep going with what I got so that the readers don't hunt me down, and want to hurt me because I'm taking too long on a series. And they're all but one dip into paranormal. So when I heard about your show, I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of fun, because I surely love, or a lot of people call it supernatural, whatever you want to call it, paranormal, supernatural. I love this kind of books with supernatural and movies and all, talking about it.
All right, just ignore the chat. Well, you said 4 months. That's a short time, actually. I mean, I've heard people say they take a year or longer. So,
well, I'm a hybrid author. Indie mixed with, audiobooks are published, a lot of them through a publisher, and print books, some of them. So through some publishers, but then the ebooks are usually me. And because of that, a lot of my friends are also indie authors. So they tend to be much faster writers than I am. I'm so envious of those who can, just sit down and out comes a book in like a month or two. I write longer books. I've tried to write, 60K or 70K. And yeah, I really learned that my storytelling brain says, no, this is not what we're doing. We're writing, multiple subplots and all kinds of stuff mixed together. And it just turns out to be a little bit longer story, and it takes me longer.
Okay. All right. Well, no, I was saying you actually take shorter than people I know who take. I've had people who take 2 years. So yeah.
That used to be when I was growing up, you think authors they would have a year a lot of times because of the publishing schedule, with the big houses. They would only be able to, fit them in here. And so it's been fun to be part of the change, starting out back when it was really only through publishers. And now, I went through the time when Amazon started with Kindle and we could put out, ebooks. And I wasn't part of that, what I think of the very first wave of indie writing, of self-publishing. I was more along the second wave. So I got to have examples to learn from, but then get in early enough that I could build a wonderful fan base. And so many of us are still together as I keep going, and the stories keep building. So yeah.
But I mean, it's still a lot. And I'm gonna add another co-host in here, so don't freak out when you see somebody else jump on screen.
Okay, and if Greg comes, if Greg shows, I don't want to step on his toes, so we can always, I can step back and play solitaire and watch you guys for a bit, whatever you need.
We like stepping on Greg's toes, so he actually co-hosts for me some too. So he does a lot of fill-in work for me. So Greg, meet Ann, and let me figure out how to get this out of the way. Greg apparently didn't check his email, so but welcome, Greg.
Hello.
Greg, I'm just gonna let you. We'll probably just stay for about an hour and a half, Ann, if that's okay with you, and then
that's fine. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
And we'll just let Greg help us here in co-hosting because I'm in Tennessee and apparently I'm having audio problems. So,
oh, bless your heart. I'm apparently having email problems.
It happens. And you are an independent writer. Greg is an independent filmmaker. And you were talking about the paranormal. He actually just, he dragged me down to Alabama a few weekends ago.
Sure did.
And they let me come back. to premiere his movie, and it was really cool. For the first time, he didn't have a big red carpet and limos and stuff. I was kind of disappointed. I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm a big deal.
But it's so cool to meet independent authors. I mean, authors, independent filmmakers, and stuff that are really into the cool stuff, the paranormal stuff. You know.
Uh-huh.
And what do you what do you base some of your stories on your books? Are they your own experiences, or
You know, I've had some fun experiences going through different haunted places, and I actually took a couple of paranormal classes when I lived up in the Seattle area, which was really fun. We would go to one of the most haunted places in Washington, and we would stay there. We get there right before dusk, and we would stay there into the night, and we'd each have different recording devices, and we'd learned all kinds of tools and whatnot from our teacher. And we would each take different rooms in this big old logging, barren mansion, and just see if we could pick up any signs of ghosts. And the first time I brought, my cell phone, I brought my camera, and it had batteries for everything, because I'd heard how the ghosts can, kind of wipe out your batteries and drain all your electronics. So I brought a bunch of extra along, and I was all ready to go, all charged up. And I took one of the rooms that was, I think, one of the kids' rooms, and sat there alone in the dark with my flashlight to get the real feel of it, and started recording, just kind of in front of me to see if I could pick up anything. And after like 2 minutes, I swear to God, everything died. All my batteries were drained. I tried my other camera, drained. And I was like, whoa, this really does happen. Because I swear, I had charged everything. I really wanted to try to get the most out of, what we were doing, because it's a really cool opportunity that the class had to go do this. And yeah, everything got drained and gone. And we did this another time in the second class I took. There was a for the next level, and I charged up everything again. I brought it, and that time I didn't lose anything. But up in the attic, I had been looking out the window down at the street, just to, I don't know, you're just on your own in a haunted house. You're just exploring different areas. I did not really do the basement. That was not my thing. And I swear I smelled out of the blue in the attic this kind of floral perfume, really strong all around me. I didn't feel anything touching the back of my neck like other, people in the class were saying, oh, I felt this and that. But I did smell that. Otherwise, though, I've always thought I was kind of a dud when it comes to the ghost world, because I'd love to see stuff, and I've tried to, put myself out there, but I hadn't really experienced much until I think I started writing more and hearing more stories, and being more open to what I thought maybe were coincidences. And, other people are going, no, that's something, that's a ghost you're experiencing. So I have had so many readers tell me stories and share with me wonderful, creepy tales, creepy just because, if I really experienced what was in my books, I think I would just stay home in a well-lit room all the time, locked away, because I am a chicken. So it's been an adventure. It's been really fun to have so many places and be available to me to go through, and people open up to me with their experiences, and get to soak all that up and then put it into a story and share, with us, and create fiction around what I've, learned from others.
Well, I can definitely relate to some of that, particularly the battery drain. I can tell you right now, it's all true. It all happens. From experience, it happens.
Yep, that was that. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wait a second. My phone was just at full, and when their teacher had taught us this, going through the class, some of us were like, okay, yeah, sure, that's going to happen. And it did. It was impressive. It was something.
Yeah, and the more you do some of this stuff, you'll see other equipment failure, not only battery drains. You'll have file corruption, audio corruption. You'll experience a lot, a plethora of issues that happen with equipment when you go out.
Right, right. I've done several of the haunted. There's haunted places in Deadwood. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Deadwood, South Dakota, like the HBO show Deadwood. It's the same place. It's a big, history, tourism, ghosts all over. It was, notorious for the mining coming through and the foul play that can come along with that. So there, so many of the buildings and places there and homes are haunted. People will tell you, they'll say, "Oh, come to my house. We've got a ghost," or "Go to the opera house up in Lead and it's haunted." So it's been really a lot of fun to, use the different, I was with a group, oh man, I can't think of their name, but it's a Black Hills Paranormal, I think it is. And I would get to go with them, and they had some wonderful gadgets and tools, to record and pick up different things. And because of them and getting to be part of, with them through so many different haunted places, I am able to talk about, in the story, my character uses this kind of a, ghost related tool. I'm really bad with the names of the different, ometers and all the different things that we've used. But it's so much, it's a lot of fun. It's really interesting, and it really fuels the imagination, if you write fiction. So.
Yeah, if you get out and do it enough, it doesn't have to be fiction. You can do it from your own experiences.
I have had some wild things happen, and through working with mediums and such, and I'm trying to think how I can relay with protecting, those who were with me protecting, but experiencing where a medium, he was well known. He'd actually been on one of the television shows where they go through haunted places, and he was there at a fan party we were having in a basement in a haunted hotel in Deadwood. And we had some exciting things happening with other ghosts or other beings. And I was trying to have a fan party. It's like we're trying to just run thing and have some meals and drinks and be the hostess. And all this stuff was happening on the side. And it was really kind of unreal. And he's telling me what's going on because he has ghosts that are protector spirits that are there talking to him, and they don't want this thing here. We've got to get this out of here. This is causing problems. And I'm like, what do we do? What do you do if you don't want a ghost or something there? And we talked about it a bit, and he had some solutions. And then he looked at me and he said, you have a ghost that's with you as well. She's following you. And I was like, please don't tell me that this is a scary looking thing, something freaky, because I'm hosting a party, it was kind of like, we have things going on here and I'm not sure I want to hear. And it turned out he said, yeah, it's an older woman and she seems to really care for you. And her name, she's like a grandmother. And then he said the first syllable of my grandmother's name, and there's no way he could have known it. I have, it was on a different part of the family, a different name. He wouldn't have known. And it's not like Anne or Anna, or Elizabeth. It's a very odd, more unique name, I should say. And he nailed it. And I looked at him gaping like, you've got to be kidding me. You're telling me she had only died a year or so before. She loved to travel, and I travel, and we were somewhat close. And my oldest sister was at that same party over on the other side of the wall helping with hosting. And I went over to her and I bent down and I whispered in her ear, we have this going. We have a troublesome spirit over there. We're trying to get rid of it. And apparently I'm haunted as well. And he gave the name, and I said, what he'd said, and she just went. I said, "Yeah, you might want to come on the other side of the wall. We've got some stuff going on over here."
Now, was she a believer before this?
I think my sister, yeah, she was more.
Okay.
And it's not, like I said, it's not that I want to see, I want to experience it. So, and I've come to learn that some people are more open,
Mhm.
just naturally they are open to more, to that realm, to
Mhm.
seeing spirits. So anyway, I've, stuff like that has happened in the midst of book related, events. So it's been a little bit of a wild ride sometimes.
It's got to make the hair on your neck stand up, though, when they do that.
Yeah, it was, the whole thing was just an incredible experience that I'll never forget, because the troublesome spirit was causing some things that I could see, and I could see it in others, what was going on. And then once this medium, he said, a little bit later, he'd taken care of it, there was a visible change in the demeanor. So it really was, I was kind of like, oh my gosh. And then I drove home from way up in Deadwood back to Arizona, and we were at a hotel, and I went to go get ice, and I was just standing there. I hadn't touched the button for the elevator yet. I just walked up, and I was just thinking about, what we had to drive yet. And the elevator doors dinged and opened, and a woman was standing there, and I said, "Are you getting off?" She goes, "No, I pushed the lobby. Where am I?" And I was like, "Well, you're at this floor." And she goes, "Well, did you want to ride down?" And I said, "I guess somebody wants me to." So again, that guardian spirit kind of a thing was playing fresh in my mind. And I've had other things happen related to that, with other haunted houses I've been to, where they tell me someone's with you. Did you know that? And I'm like, yeah, I know about that one. So, but she's nice and she likes me. And so even at home, my kids, when things happen, around the house, my kids now, will say, "Hey, Grandma, how you doing?" And we just talk to her like she's part of the family here, with us. So we just kind of enjoy having her around to watch over us.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just amazing. The whole thing's been so trippy, and so many different times with different, ways of seeing this happen. It hasn't been just one thing. There's been multiple, that just keeps kind of cementing it. So I'm lucky. I feel fortunate. It's not like, I was trying to think of that scary movie with that creepy house with the barn look.
Amityville?
Thank you. It's not like Amityville, where there's something with cloven hooves standing outside my window and pink eyes or red eyes looking in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going back to something you just mentioned a few minutes ago, some people are more open to seeing some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started, I'm gonna call it Bigfooting for lack of another term. When I first started Bigfooting, I started seeing things that were not related to Bigfoot. I started seeing these lights out in the woods. I'm call them orbs for lack of another term, and I had to come to terms with what that was. I kept trying to block it out. So like, no, I'm not seeing this. Am I the only one seeing these things? Is there something wrong with me?
Right.
And then eventually I started to accept that, hey, there's something here. And lo and behold, I started seeing, once I accepted it, I started seeing these orbs just quite often, to be honest with you.
Right.
And, we have them on film, and, that had opened me up to other possibilities.
Uh-huh.
And I actually saw my first ghost out Bigfoot orb watching, Bigfooting.
Uh-huh.
And I saw this Indian on a horse materialize in this field, and just solid as we were. And it rode across the field. It got to the tree line and then disappeared. I looked over at, Janice, who was standing right next to me, and I said, "Hey, did you see?" And she said, "What? An Indian on a horse?" Yeah.
Oh wow! So you both saw the
Yeah,
same.
we both saw it. It was really solid. So, I think that, or it's my opinion that even if somebody is not attuned, they can eventually open themselves up to where they can see some of these things. But I do think I think you're right. You have to be attuned and be able to accept some of these things that you're seeing, because I think your mind actually blocks some weird stuff that goes on around you, because it's not supposed to be
Right.
there, right?
Right. You kind of, it seems like once you start opening more and you're looking around for little signs, that before you might have seen things and it didn't really, register as, oh, this is something. It was like, oh, I think your brain tries to make sense of so much. Just like, when we see things, a lot of times you'll have different people experience the same, seeing something, not a ghost necessarily, but an event, and people sometimes see it differently because our brains take it in and then try to make sense of it if it's something troubling, and I wonder if that's similar, with the spirit world, with ghosts, with supernatural. It's once you open your mind to it, and then you start looking around and you see things or hear things, then maybe that's all part of it. And it just seems like that has been my experience. I'm not saying I walk around and see dead people all the time. It seems like now things happen and I go, huh, okay, so maybe that's, something. And often in the middle of the night after this, or it was actually before, I had someone tell me my grandmother was there a few months. I'd been writing late into the night, with the kids to bed and everybody asleep. And it would reach a point around 1:30, and I'd feel just a little tingling, like someone messing with my hair. And we have cats, and I'd always be like, where's the cat? Is this a cat? And it happened routinely at the same time, not every night, but a few times a week, and it would be, and I finally thought, if that's my grandmother, she's telling me it's time to go to bed. It's late, get to bed. You're up late writing again, get yourself to bed. You got to get, so I kind of had that happen more times than I could count. And at first I tried to think, oh, is that just like I'm pulling a muscle, something back there? But after I learned she was my guardian spirit and I kept seeing stuff everywhere, I thought, she's telling me to go to bed. And I just say, okay, Grandma, I'll wrap it up. I'll go to bed, starting it in the morning.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, going back to, you talked about you had this smell, like the perfume. Do you know if that was anything related to her, or was that something different?
She was still alive when I was doing that. Okay. So I think that was something they talked about in the house we were in. They named different people that had lived there that had been, someone had felt something, had talked to them, had experienced something with their ghosts. So we kind of, had a list of different people, and there were some kids that would play up in the attic. They'd put cars down and then put a camera on it. And every now and then the cars would move across the floor and they'd get it on film. So that kind of a thing. So you kind of knew different areas had different, ghosts. And there was one area where they're like, you probably shouldn't go over there. People get really negative feelings. And one of them was in the basement. They were like, don't go in the basement. There's always been real negativity that has come for those who are more sensitive, those who are mediums, And so that's why I was like, no problem. I don't need to go into the basement of a haunted house in the middle of late at night. That I don't know how you go out in the woods watching for Bigfoot, because I'm a chicken. I'd be like,
well, come on. Isn't that what every horror movie does? You go in the basement.
Exactly. I was not doing that. No way.
I don't blame you. So yeah, just real quick, Ross said that he didn't think that I did the ghosts, and typically I don't. I don't like things that go bump in the night inside my house. I'd prefer to be out there with something big and hairy that's 900 pounds.
Not me. Oh boy, that's just the things out in the forest. You can keep those. I've said, between Blair Witch and all the other shows you see with that kind of thing going on out there, I don't need to. Yeah, I'll stay in the house and just wait for my grandma to tell me to go to bed.
Yeah, I do think though that if you train yourself and you become more open to it, that you can you can learn to see these things. And I'll take it back to when I was a child. When I was a kid, and I live in Alabama, where we
Mhm.
don't see the aurora very often. But
Mhm.
when I was a kid, we had an aurora event, and I was able to see it with my own eyes.
Hmm.
The whole sky was red and yellow, and all these flickers and all this other stuff that happens with aurora, and I was able to see it.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to just a few months ago, we had more aurora events, and I couldn't see
Mhm.
them, not with my eyes.
Yeah.
Right? You could with a camera, but I couldn't with my eyes
With your
anymore.
eyes.
Right. So, I think when we're kids, we're more open to things. I think kids could see things that we can't, and they can sense things that we have been taught to block out
Right.
from society. That we've been taught that, and we have to unlearn what we've learned.
It makes me
To
think of
quote Yoda.
and I'd heard that too, and it makes me think of that song, and I'm going to age myself. Supertramp, the Logical song.
Yes.
And when it starts, he's a kid, and then as time goes on through the song, he's been taught how to be logical and cynical and this. But when it starts out, he talks about being a child. He's open to the world, but then over time, we're taught, no, that doesn't make any sense. You need to. That's all this is. And maybe it's because I was a pretty chicken child with the closet light on the time. And my parents were like, oh dear, she won't go to bed because she's so afraid of the dark. Let's just tell her it's, there is nothing, and get that cemented in her head so that she'll go to sleep in her room for once, Maybe that's part of it. But then I do think that just becoming an adult, you lose touch with some of that. Some of us, not all, some of us are able to keep it. And keep that alive and still see things in the world that maybe others don't see anymore.
Absolutely. Shine in the comments says, despite his shortcomings as a father, my biological dad drilled that upon me, open-mindedness since I was young.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. I've tried to do that with my kids with, hey, maybe, they've done some of the, especially once they got older into their upper teens, they would do some of the paranormal investigations or stuff related to it, and just expose them to that and let them experience it and see if maybe their mind is open to it as well, or and if they don't want to, that's okay. But just to let them experience as much as they can, in learning in that world as well. And boy, some of the tools they have now out there to try to pick up different elements, different things, it's really incredible. And I wish my brain was working tonight so I could name all the different amazing tools that I've been able to hold, and or we're picking up electromagnetic this, or whatever. But I know Black Hills Paranormal people, if they see this or hear this, they're going to be going, oh, Anne, come on, we taught you.
Well, there's so many, and they're changing them. I won't say so often, but the technology is going so much further than before. I mean, I'm with you. I don't know the name of them, but the one that always gets me is the one where it draws the little stick figure.
Oh, those are so creepy, but amazing, but scary. Because when we did have one of those, and I remember thinking in a dark parlor, there weren't many. It was just me and a couple others. And I thought, if that stick figure comes on, I might have to run out of the room. I don't know if I can handle this, because that just seems. I mean, it's creepy that it's a stick figure, because there's something about that simpleness that makes it like, oh, what is this? But
what's it called? A stickometer or something?
You're the camera guy. Greg.
Yeah, come on.
All I know is it's just a gadget. That's what I'm knowing about the thingy and the doohickey.
And the doohickey, yeah.
Well, I was like, okay, that's just the camera or AI seeing something, and then it'll be like, okay, well, tell it to turn the light on or something, or the flashlight, or move the ball, and it'll do it. And I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, there's the new one. I
Mhm.
can't think of, I should pull up a list of the different tools, but there was one where it's like radio. As you tune through, it's like a thing tuning through
It's like a
different
ghost
sounds.
box. Yeah,
Yes,
they call
thank
it a ghost
you.
box.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, and that one, I haven't had a lot where it's like, oh yeah, definitely. But there's been some stuff where it's like, but that one
Mhm.
creeps me out because I keep, I think I've seen too many horror movies where something starts talking to you. And I just
Mhm.
wait for it to, say my name or something, and I'm gonna I think that's what
Sure.
makes writing the fiction fun is,
Mhm.
scaring myself on the page as much as, scaring the characters.
Mhm.
I was-
Speaking
I
of,
was-
the ghost box,
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah, I've got a portion of that in the film. It's called the Estes method, where it goes a little bit further than just having the ghost box. You put you have a ghost box, but it's hooked up to earbuds, and you put the earbuds in. Then you put noise canceling headphones over that, and then you blindfold yourself. So all your visual and audio stimuli is gone. All you hear is just what's coming out of the ghost box. Anyway, so long story short, in that session, I had a lot of negative imagery come across, and apparently I was saying some negative things too, like Nephilim, witch, and some other things. I honestly don't remember what all I was saying, but and if it wasn't recorded, I wouldn't even be able to tell you that. But my crewmate actually saw a like a shadow person there trying to enter me, and it freaked him out.
It would
And
me, yeah.
yeah, and it freaked him out. So he won't go back to that location. He's just it really freaked him out. And actually, it's caught on camera.
Oh,
I didn't know it until I started reviewing the final cut, and I started watching really close. And yeah, he was right. There's a shadow that's unaccounted for that is right behind me, and it kind of
oh
moves over
boy.
toward me. Yeah.
There's been, since a kid, I've just seen so many movies where something does go inside, something seems to step inside. And I don't know, that's just, I didn't, initially I was going to try to write just romance, adventures with,
Mm.
romance in the romance genre. But I just kept leaning more into mystery, paranormal, supernatural, and just as time went on, that just kept growing stronger. And I had to add, so much of that in because I find it so interesting. It really opens up the field of what you can, especially if you write mysteries. Okay, now let's throw in some supernatural and who killed them and what killed them and how did it, and are they
Mhm.
really dead or this? It just makes it so much more the field wide and fun as an author to come up with, things and things I've witnessed and movies I've watched where, like what you're talking about is just, yeah, gives you the chills. It's really interesting. And I still go back to you in the woods in the dark looking for Bigfoot, and I don't know how you're doing that.
Well,
You're so, that's just, yeah. I'd have big spotlights out there looking all around.
He had an experience with one of his crew members the very first time they had an encounter. I'll let you tell the story, Greg, because you're probably better than I. But he was like me, and you would have probably been like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Okay, we went, yeah, and this is in the film too. Okay, so we're going to this place. It's called the Land Between the Lakes. It's a national recreation area that's bisected by Tennessee and Kentucky. So it's on the lower half of Kentucky, upper half of Tennessee.
Okay.
And it's a rather large area, and some really weird crap happens there. I'm just going to say. So my film crew and I, we get together. We're going to a location, and we finally get to the location, and we're getting all of the gear out. And Martin Groves is like, okay, I'm going to go call him in. So he goes up, and I'm like, anyway, he goes up and does this thing. He says he can actually communicate with him by whistling. Why not? I'm sitting there getting my film gear ready, and I hear this grunt, this growl. It's kind of like a kind of
Yeah.
sound, and like, okay, that's weird. So I just keep on doing what I'm doing, right? And it does it again, and I'm like, did you guys hear that? And about that time, it does it again, but it's really close this time, real close, and my camera guy just freaks out. He's like, "Oh my God, it's here! It's here! We gotta go! We gotta go!" And it just rattled him. And I'm like, "Hold on, dude! This is why we're here.
This
Calm
is
down. This is why we're here." So I grab him by the back of the coat, right, and I said, "You're okay, man?" He's like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's here. It's going to kill us." All this stuff's going on, and I'm trying to find my camera that's in the back of the truck. And I grab the first thing that I get. It's a short range night vision camera. And when I'm getting it, I look up, and sure enough, standing right in front of a truck. I'm at the back corner of the truck, and it's this thing is standing in front of my truck at the opposite corner, and it's a Bigfoot. And I see from its bust up, it's just standing there looking at us. And I'm like, ooh. So it seemed like time stood still. This
Yeah.
seemed like an eternity. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I froze. And I'm like, oh, I got a camera. So I start, fiddling with a camera. And I don't know if you've ever tried to get a camera to work and hit the right record button in the middle of the night when you've got a freaking Bigfoot standing in front of you and
No.
it's growling and stuff. I tell you, it's hard to do. I mean, I'm telling you, it's hard to. Eventually, I finally get it going. Now it's pitch black out. So I make the mistake of looking into the display screen, which is very bright. Okay. And then I lose all of my natural night vision. I can't see a thing, because I looked into the display screen with both eyes. I'm like, oh, crap. That's a noob. That's a noob mistake. So I'm sitting there trying to record the Bigfoot, and I'm trying to look into the display screen, which is this seemed like it's this big.
Yeah.
And I'm an older guy. I need my glasses. I didn't have glasses on to be able to see what I'm getting. So I'm pointing the camera at where I think it was. I thought I missed it. Now, Glenn, I don't know if you saw it when it was at the premiere or not, but I caught its eyes. You could see its eyes in the front of the truck. You could see its eyes. And then that's when Adam was like, put the camera on Brent. And he didn't know that I was actually trying to film this thing. Right. So, and I don't know that I caught it either, because I can't see the display screen. I can't see it anymore. I can't see anything. It's just general stuff, that I'm trying to point the camera at.
Right.
So I point this camera over at it and over at my Brent, and he was still freaking out. He was so shaky. I mean, he's just literally shaking. He couldn't hold the camera still. So we had to sit and reassure him, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. And then, then we get together, and this thing, like Adam Davis, he's also in the film with us, and he's a gentleman from England. But he was in the English military, the British military, and he's been all over the world. He's been, world traveler and whatnot. So he's had a lot of experience in dealing with and trying to find cryptids, right? So, but his military training kicks in, and I'm like really grateful of that, because he takes charge of this of a group. He's like, we're going to form a group and then form a line and push it back so it doesn't feel like it can charge us. Now this thing keeps growling and growling and growling, and every time we take a step forward, this thing growls, just. And it's like a tug of war that's happening, right? So every day we take a step forward, it growls, and we kind of step back a little bit and then take another step forward, and eventually it does go off into the woods where it's and then its eyes starts glowing, they start glowing red. So we're picking up this eye shine, and I'm trying to film Adam and everything else going on all at the same time, and then rocks start throwing from my left side. I'm like, there's more than one.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yes, yikes. There's more than one there. So I'm like, I keep like looking over, making sure we're not, something's not going to happen from the left side. But that was a scary encounter, and to Brent, to Brent's credit, he did start filming, but um, and that was difficult to overcome. I do credit him for that. Uh, but we were using cameras that should have lasted for hours, and we got 25 minutes,
Oh,
and
see.
then battery drain. But it's a fantastic encounter. It's in the film. I don't know of any other encounter that's been captured like that before.
What's this film? You
It's called the title of the series called Cryptic Expeditions, but
Okay.
this one's titled The Land Between the Lakes.
The Land Between the Lakes. I have to write it down because you had me so curious. I'm gonna write that down. You said what was it? Cryptic
Expeditions.
Expeditions. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. The Land Between
The Land Between the Lakes.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Is it out on YouTube or where did you have
Not
it?
YouTube. You can stream it from our platform, or you can order a DVD.
Okay.
It's relicfilmsmedia.com.
Filmsmedia.com.
Yeah, don't put www in front of it. It'll say it's not working.
Okay. So just Relic Films.
Yeah, just type in relicfilmsmedia.com and it'll take you straight there.
I don't know how you I'd be like your the cameraman you talked about, or worse. I was walking long time ago. I was 20 with a friend on a dirt in the middle of Northwest Ohio, northeastern Indiana, on a country road. We were just out, walking around. It was the boonies, and all of a sudden I heard coming closer and closer, and it was dark, no moon. We thought we were having a good time, just two, 19-year-olds, whatever. Oh my gosh. That was my first experience with just terror of, I can't see it, but I can hear it and it's coming closer. And I'd like to tell you that I, did something like lifted the flashlight or, was ready for it. Instead, I grabbed my good friend and I went, put it right in front of me, right between us.
Bait.
And it was like,
Bait.
and it was the neighbor's dog, and she knew the neighbor, the dog, and it came over and it was friendly. It was a big dog, but then it ran off, and she turned to me and she said, "I cannot believe you would do that to me." I said, I don't even remember making the decision of let's use her, as a block for to protect your life. It was just for so yeah, I could see me out there with you just going, running the other way or something. Oh, that's
But I
amazing.
tell you, if I hadn't grabbed onto the back of his coat, he would have went running the other way. And then I'll tell you what would happen then.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I don't know where he was going to go. We're out in the middle of the woods.
We all know how that goes. I mean, we've seen that. It goes even worse.
I've seen that movie, and it doesn't end well.
It doesn't end well. Oh boy. No, that's really that's interesting. That's amazing. Do you put any I don't know what the word I was at, ley lines, hot spots, vortices, anything to do with that? Do you believe? I live half an hour from Sedona, where that is the thing when you're over there, is the vortex, or different areas for where all of this is stronger. Do you feel like the Land Between the Lakes is an example of something of that?
Oh, absolutely. It's in the film. It's at the intersection of several ley lines.
So man, it's like I'm all ready to go. I'm ready to watch the film. I'm all
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we've also found that there's usually a lot of quartz in the area.
Right.
That limestone. And for some reason it's like it pulls the energy in. I don't know that anybody knows the answer to why, but there's a couple things we've noticed, because there's a place in Alabama we go to, and then of course he's talking about the Land Between the Lakes.
Right.
Then there's the famed Skinwalker Ranch, so And as he was saying, when you're out in the woods, you may experience a ghost, you may experience a Bigfoot. ET may pick you up. I mean, it's kind of really weird. You don't know. And I guess that's the one thing I like about it is you get the combination of all of them.
Right.
That's
right.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
can still feel the need to run if I got a way to go.
yeah. And you know, we even got into the paranormal stuff in the film. We went off to do a ghost investigation at one of the abandoned houses that was there. And, you know, while we were there, somebody had called an EVP on one of their handheld recorders. And I thought that was all that was there, right? Well, unbeknownst to me, the camera that I was using caught 2 EVPs. And
Oh,
yeah, I didn't catch that until after, during the editing sessions. You know, the editor caught that. So that's in the film. Then afterwards, we went out to a cemetery and, you know, we see these orbs. Now, the orbs showed out. They absolutely show. I mean, when I say orbs, I'm not talking about dust with a camera flash or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about self-luminous objects that you can see with your eyes. You can record with your camera. You know, we got them on camera. Yeah, I mean, it was just fascinating there. Absolutely, it's got everything.
So are any of your crew mediums, you know, have specialties that they mostly I'm thinking of mediums, you know, where they are more open, even, you know, more so than others, that they go out there and they try to interact with anything other than, I mean, I know we're talking about, if we talk about Bigfoot, that's different, but you know, some of the ghosts and stuff like that. Do you have some of the different paranormal groups I've gone with often have someone that's a medium that is just more open and kind of a channel, it seems like.
Janice is, you know, she was a member of our crew, and she's able to sense things and even see things that we couldn't. Yeah, I would also put myself in sort of that category where, you know, I see these orbs and stuff a lot, and you know, they respond to stimuli. And what I mean, you know, they'll react to you, they'll follow you, or at least they do me sometimes. So I don't know if that's got to do with me in particular, but I think it goes back to me being more open than what I used to be. So I don't know if you count that as being a medium.
Well, somewhat. It just I've met many and they're amazing. It just seems like I don't know, there's a calmness usually that those who I've met, and they're just watching the world and listening. And I always feel like they can see more, they can hear more than I can. They're opened, you know, the channel's wide open, and they're able to, you know, and pick up on that. And in one of the series I write, I really have fun with the main character, the heroine. She does not see ghosts. She does not at the beginning. Initially, she's not, you know, a believer in that, and yet she's selling real estate in a haunted town where other people see things. So, you know, it's kind of fun to play with having other people who are mediums talking, and then giving the reader the viewpoint of, we can't see what they're seeing, you know, do you believe it or do you not, you know, and going along with the character that way, kind of exploring the story with, you know, the main character who is more of a skeptic. But as time goes, I mean, that changes, of course, in this series. But I have been on where I've been with people that really are seeing and picking up stuff, and then I've been where it just seems like I don't see anything, and everybody's feeling everybody touch their hair and stuff, you know. So it's such a fun, and not just fun's not really a good word for it, because there's a deeper feel to it than that. but there is a rush of adrenaline often that
Mhm.
comes with this.
Mhm.
It does get quite addicting, when some of this stuff happens and
Yeah.
it's not scary, it becomes addicting. I actually love seeing orbs, love
Mhm.
it. But probably the most fascinating thing that happened to me at the Land Between the Lakes, even after, to me, I find it more fascinating than seeing the Bigfoot. Well, on one of the nights I was there, we were sitting there watching orb watching,
Mhm.
and we wasn't actually filming them, it was just kind of taking a break. So I see this light that, um, a color of light that I'm not really used to seeing. It was, kind of yellowish. So, but I couldn't see the source of the light. I
Hmm.
eventually kind of maneuver myself around to where I can see the source. And about, 4 or 5 feet up off the ground, I see a rectangular. I see the source of the light. It's rectangular with 90-degree edges. And for lack of another term, I'm going to call it a portal,
Mhm.
um, because it was pitch black where we were. And I was looking into this thing, right? And it was daylight where it was at,
Mhm.
completely daylight. I was in complete shock because, I don't know where it led to. I don't know if it was just on the other side of the earth, some other planet, I don't know where that was, but I wasn't going to go walk over there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
right. Yeah. And you walk in that thing, get trapped, and then you're gone.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
done.
but to me, I was looking into some other place,
Hmm.
somewhere else. And I remember like a flash of light, and there was somebody was shining a flashlight from off in the distance. I think it bounced off of a tombstone head or something. I don't know, whatever. Light just shut it down. Just, whoop, it was just gone. It was there
Right.
and gone. But a few minutes later, an orb came up from where it was. So I
Hmm.
found, exactly what I thought.
It's pretty
That's
cool.
But to me,
yeah.
that was the culmination of the experiences that I've ever had, was seeing that portal.
That would that would be
Mhm.
amazing. You'd want to get closer a little bit, see it, but then yeah, we all know what happens when you step through a portal in our in everything we've witnessed fiction wise, and I think you'd be very hestant. Here's Greg was last seen in the land between the lakes at this
Mhm.
point, and he's not been
Mhm.
seen since.
He just put his arm in or something.
Yes.
No, 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 no.
No.
I do plan on going to where Adam Davis had seen his portal before. Now
Mm.
his encounter with the portal lasted 2 nights.
Wow.
And it was like they were doing battle with whatever was there because these two entities came out of the orb. They were 3 foot tall or so and real stocky looking creatures with red eyes, and it was him and another guy named John. And uh, as these creatures would like try to run toward them, they would turn their flashlights on and then everything would disappear and shut down. And
Hmm.
15-20 minutes later, here comes this portal again, just, and they were able to look inside and saw that it was a very desolate looking world and with dead trees and stuff. Um, so we are going to go there and film in 2026, but I
Yeah.
think I'm going to bring me a drone and
Yeah,
fly
there
a
you
drone
go.
into it. That's what I'm
There
going
you
to do.
go.
Yeah.
It's reminding
That's
me,
an idea.
what is the name of that movie? It's got the tall man. It's from like the 1970s. It's so creepy, and there's the little people that are squished that come out. But he's a tall man. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, I can't think of the name, but it's
I do. Yeah.
Poltergeist?
no, it's not Polter. I have to look up quick while we're doing this because it there was a portal and Phantasm. That's it.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that movie, but there's a portal and out come these. It's like gravity has squished him down. It's supposed to be a version of
Mhm.
hell. And so if I saw what what you're describing. Oh boy, I'm running again. There goes Anne.
Mhm.
She's gone in the woods. Good luck fighting. You know, who knows if she'll come back because
Yeah,
she might
well,
get lost.
like I say, I'm going to make use of a drone because knowing my luck, if I went over there and ran into that thing, it would it would disappear or something, and then I couldn't get my way back. So
Yeah, and you
I'd be
stick your arm
stuck.
in. We all know you stick your arm in, then something grabs you or something,
Yeah,
or
pull
your
me
arm's
in.
gone or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
that would be
Yep.
me.
Okay.
So I'm not
And
doing that. I'm going to send in a drone.
that's a good idea. Chris asked, has Anne found that being more open has not only increased the number of experiences she is having, but also her understanding of why they are happening and what they want her to gain from them?
I would like to say that I am that advanced in this, that I've worked through it that far. I do feel like I'm experiencing more of an understanding of, like some of the stuff I said. Oh, it's helping, like if this grandmother spirit, she's helping me. She's there for me, so I'm open to it, and I watch for it, and I appreciate it, and often, feel much calmer. I can't remember what was the last part of his question. Can you flash that up on the screen again?
Yeah. He wanted to know if
And what they want her to gain. No, I don't know if there's something. I haven't gotten that far to, what I'm gaining from them. I just have always, since this started happening, I started feeling like she's just there to help me along. Maybe that's centered. Maybe I need to think wider. I need to think bigger. But, I come from, really, is there any such thing as ghosts, to more now where it's like, oh yeah, they're out there, and things happen, and people tell me stories that they've experienced, and I'm 100% there believing them. I think, it's like, yes, oh, wow, you're an open, source for this. You're receptive to it, and you're seeing through stuff. And I would like in time to keep being able to be even more open. I think unless you're born into this and more of a natural at it, sometimes you have to work for it. Especially, I'm a more practical person, so it's harder for me to go, oh, okay, because that's not really the way I was raised or the way I, approach life.
Well, that narrowness too that we put on as we get older too, the blinders. And let's see, I'm going to get some questions from the chat real quick here. Any advice when your ghost encounters affect your day-to-day life?
If for me to answer, Greg, you can answer. Like I said, my kids and I, things happen in our house that really aren't explainable. It's, and we've just come to say, oh, hey, grandma, and just be open and not fearful of, I guess I should be looking at, is she trying to communicate more, but more of just, hey, what's this? I recently had a family member, my father, and it's his mother, that I'm talking about. He was in the hospital, not doing well, and I felt like, I kind of said to myself and aloud, Grandma, I need, go with him, be with him, help him, kind of a thing. And I then flew there to be in the, help out in the hospital. And one of the mediums long ago has told me, watch for white doves, because I see a white dove sitting on your shoulder, and that is your spirit. That's what she comes across as, the white dove. Watch for white doves. And I kind of went, yeah, okay. Well, I'm there and things are pretty bad. And I go in the waiting room just to kind of, ground myself. And there's this 3-year-old magazine, USA Today or something, or US Weekly, and it has a big white dove on it. And I picked it up. I was like, what? And it was from 3 years ago. It wasn't even like the latest that they put out. And I just felt like, okay, we're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It's here's my sign. We're going to make it through this, we'll see what happens. And it was a long road, but yeah, my dad is still hanging out with us. So
good
stuff like that, that I now keep an eye out for and look for, and then try to communicate, hey, thank you for the sign, stuff like that. And some people go, "That's crazy," and other people are like, "Yeah, totally. I've experienced this too."
Well, that's why I call this the paranormal, because I've had people that believe, and I've had people that be like, "Well, you're nuts talking about us." I don't have to prove it to you. Warren asking, I believe this one's for you, Greg. Are there caves nearby? I believe he's talking about the land between the lakes.
Yes, there's lots of caves up in that area.
Okay. And then Virgil asks, or no, Virgil stated, my grandmother always said, don't fear the dead. They can't harm you, but it's the living who will harm you. But that isn't always true. My friend worked at a mortuary. The coffin slipped off the top shelf and crushed him.
Oh, boy.
Said the death
Oh,
would have
my.
been instantaneous. Boy, I miss him. Any thoughts, guys?
Holy cow. Oh, boy.
That's deep.
Wow,
and
that's fantastic. That would make me wonder. I don't think I could work in a mortuary because of, the more I've learned, the more I've heard. It's like I said, I went from being a kid that always used a closet light to I'm okay with sleeping in the dark to someone, if I'm alone at home, I've got lights on again all over. All these stories, all the things I've seen and heard and different things. It's worrisome, but like that, like the commenter wrote, I can't remember who said it. Those, don't fear the dead. I always have far more fear of looking out the front door in the dark, and someone standing there, and it's not a ghost, it's somebody out there. That's far scarier, I think, than just.
It's also kind of weird.
Yeah. But you see that people watch it, oh boy. That's just creepy. I'm more afraid, I think, of the people alive.
Yeah, if you do that, down here you might get lead poisoning.
Well, I am in Arizona, so here as well.
Okay.
So
we just had snow in Atlanta, and the other day this kid comes up, literally yesterday, comes up to the front door, rings the doorbell, wants to mow the lawn, and I'm like, go. I don't know what you're doing. Go.
Go.
I was like,
your lawn.
Go. Yeah. I was like, the snow just melted. What? So, that was a little weird, but I was like, okay, whatever.
As weird as the snow in Atlanta, right? Yeah.
Yes, very much so. We're not used to that. It shuts the whole city down.
Yeah.
Yes, getting rocks thrown at you, seeing red eyes, little people. Yeah, I had an experience one time. We knew that the game wardens had put up game cams near where we were camping, which they do in the woods if you are in an area frequently enough. And so we were, trying to find them. And I come up on this thing. And I thought it was an owl at first. And I was like, no, wait a minute. That's got a human form. And it had these bright yellow eyes. And so I'm just like, as like Greg, it's like, I'm just staring at it. And I'm like, it's got to be an owl. In my mind, I'm trying to rationalize it's got to be an owl. And then it turned and walked away. Didn't fly, turned and walked away. And it was, we went up there because I'm telling my friends this. They're like, okay, you're nuts. And I'm like, no, we walked right up there. And it was about 3 feet off the ground. And it was like, but it had these like jaundiced eyes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that kind of remind me at the encounter at the LBL, where this is toward the end of the encounter. We're so amped up, and Adam looks over to our left and kind of sees granted, you can see what's going on with cameras, but you can't see with your eyes.
Right.
So something flashes off of one of the trucks, and he's like, "Oh, what was that?" We're like, "Adam, it's just the truck." I said, "What? It's just the truck."
Oh,
and then an expletive.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes you easily mistake things.
Oh yeah, we live in the land of ravens, and they'll be up in our oak trees, and then I'll go out to take the trash out or something in the night. You go out, and all of a sudden overhead, it's like, oh my gosh, and then they make the funniest sounds. The raven, they have so many different sounds they make. That one of them is like the predator from the Predator films. So it's always like, don't move, it's the predator is here. So I mean, I know those are fiction, but Yeah,
Mhm.
the littlest thing out in the dark can really, wait a second, what is that?
Oh, those little tiny owls about this big, the screech owls,
Yes.
dead asleep in a tent in the middle of the night and have that sucker just let out a blood curdling scream above your tent. I about ran through the tent.
Oh man.
I was like, it's right here. It's got me.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, it's a little bird, Glenn. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, but I saw a thing where they have this killer grip that could break your arm. Some of these owls, they're so strong. So there's a reason to have fear. There you go.
Yeah. It scared me. That was for sure. In the middle of the night, it did. It sounded just like there was a demon or something right at the top of my tent.
There probably was. There probably was.
It
Glenn.
probably was
And
that.
they were
Yeah.
probably just going, "Oh, it's an owl, Glenn. Don't worry about it." Well, I still find it interesting to go out in the woods because you never know what is going to happen. Are you still finding an interest in doing these things, or have you kind of pulled back a little bit, or
You mean
you
me or
haven't
Greg?
now? Well, I know Greg. He's going out in the woods, and we'll probably lose him in a portal. But no,
Probably
talking about
so.
you, talking about you. I mean, as far as going into the houses and experimenting more with learning more about the different experiences, I guess, for lack of better words.
I enjoy it, and I don't mean that like I'm a junkie, I got to do it. I
We get it.
enjoy I enjoy experiencing it and learning the stories that come with the house. And maybe this is part of my writing, and being a storyteller, but learning who the people were, what happened, and then going in and just sitting there in the dark and listening and waiting and seeing if something happens, and if it doesn't, that's fine too. The experience of it, because with what I write, there are part of the main characters in like the Deadwood mystery series, there is a medium, there is someone that can hear ghosts, and there's one that can see them as how they died, these horrific things. So it's really fun for my storyteller brain to go in and think, how would so and so be witnessing this, and how would this character, how could I bring this to the page for readers, to make it not to scare necessarily, but to just pull them in and make them feel like they're part of what I'm experiencing here. So I still enjoy it. I still wouldn't go down in that basement on my own after all this time. But we have established that I am quite a chicken, so
I'm not
and
going
that
in
I
the
will.
basement either. So.
I'll throw somebody in front of me and run the other way. So we know that about me. I'm that character in the movie, right?
Mental note: if I'm with you,
right?
And I didn't ask you this beforehand because you said you started later in life when you were doing your writing. What were you trained as an English teacher or writer or?
No, I didn't want to write. I had all kinds of dreams. I mean, starting crazy stuff when I was in high school. I thought being a camel jockey would be sexy. I was reading a lot of Harlequin books, which, these romance guys, these heroes that were sheiks and camel jockey. I don't know. So I went through that. I even drew a picture of that for art class and painted it. And I still have it, where you put your dream career. I was on a camel. And I moved from that to a flight attendant, lawyer. I just kept jumping around, trying to land on stuff, going to college, experiencing different classes, but I went to 4 different colleges before I got my bachelor's, and each one made me take English 101 again. I don't know. I mean, I got good grades, but apparently each college thought their English was better. They were different states, so maybe they figured we speak it differently than they do in Ohio, so you need to do this. Or Arizona says stuff this way. We feel it's this way in Washington, so take another English 101 class. So by the 4th time, I thought, I think this is a sign from the universe that I'm supposed to be writing or something, because I keep having to write papers and get the English language, beaten into my head. And I ended up landing a job as a tech writer. I went for a secretarial position, just part-time while I was in college. And they said, hey, you've got English on your resume. Would you like to be a tech writer? And I was like, sure. What's a tech writer do? So I did that for 14 years, and it just kept improving my, skills and storytelling along the way. And it just, in my late 20s, I started in my early 20s to mid 20s, but I still have those books, but boy, yeah, nobody ever gets to see those. I should probably have them burned, when I die. But yeah, it just kept growing from that. And then by my late 20s, I was trying to tell stories with endings that I liked and experimenting with different, like I said, romances and different things. And it really got exciting when I started throwing some murder, dead bodies, and then even more when I started with supernatural, and started putting it all together. And I kind of fell into that where, this is what, I'm going to talk about. So, and since then, it's just going forward and not really looking back. I did it for, like I said, I was a tech writer for about 14 years. And then I was able to finally quit. This was back around 2013 and go full-time writing. And that's what my family and I do. My husband writes as well. So this is what we do. We write every day. It's a lot sexier sounding than it is when you do it for a living.
You got dueling keyboards staring back to back.
Yes, it's a lot of work, just like so many other careers, And when you're not telling stories just for fun, but you're doing it because you're making money and you need to make money to put food on the table, it feels a little different, but it's still a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful career that I kind of stumbled into backwards and fell down, and here I am. And supernatural has come along with it, which has been so wonderful, so much fun along the way to learn so many things.
Any chance of adding Bigfoot, Dogman, anything in
Maybe. There? I mean, I have written a Shifter novella series, AC Silly Circus series. It's about shifters that are not normal in their shifter world, and it's a mix of all this. So who knows what I could throw in there. I really don't know. I keep thinking, a lot of my writer friends I started out with are a little bit older than I am, 20 years older, and they're getting ready to retire. And I keep thinking I'm about to retire. And then I think, no, you still got 20 more years of writing. So let's see what else comes out of this brain, and what other stories. But I love, the idea of mixing, with Bigfoot and more, not making it big, like Harry and the Hendersons, making it feel more like real life, and here's, this whole thing. So I'm really curious about Greg's movies. So I'm going to have to go see, or the film, and go see that and watch that.
I may be biased, but it is a very great film. So yeah.
All right.
And you get some good audio. If you listen with the headphones, you'll really be able to hear the growl he was talking about.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's see. So Christine says, I'm glad I found you in your books and completely absorbed. Now I have to check out the shifters. And I think Virgil's just pulling our leg. They want to know about a dead cow or something up there. I don't know. Maybe I just offended somebody, but.
Yep. Do cows go to heaven?
I don't know. I have a thing about cows from growing up on the farm and having to feed them as a really young child.
Oh.
I'm nervous around cows, and people like to pick on me about that, but I have great respect for cows and their hooves. And I often joke that cows are evil and they're going to take over the world someday. You just wait and see, between the methane and everything else. Do you think they're just dull-witted and looking at you with those big cow eyes? But there's something going on in that head of theirs. So a lot of my readers will joke about cows with me. And then zombies really freak me out. Ever since, a kid with Evil Dead, I can't. Oh, gosh, zombies. So then if you were to mix zombies and cows, once again, I'm running.
Well, according to South Park, you might be correct.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, there's some strange things that goes on with cows in South Park.
We did have a guest on that. We got to talk about what they were scared of, and they were absolutely terrified of cows. And I just found that so weird, but they're like, no, they terrify me. Literally seeing them terrifies me.
I need to get with this guest, because I once got lost in the foothills, the Black Hills of South Dakota, because I was avoiding herd of cows out on the range on the dirt road. And I thought, well, I'm just going to cut over this hill because I'm not going to, you know, deal with these cows, this bull that's staring me down. So then I got lost for hours on end. Came across a house up there with chimney. You know, it's the scene of the the evil witch in the forest with the nice little cute house with the smoke coming out. And I sat there thinking, should I go, or will this be the end of Anne as we ever knew her? I was a teenager, you know. It was like, oh, but I'm lost and it's getting dark. And again, woods, dark, be scared. So it was a wonderful old couple. They fed me cookies and took me home. So I lucked out, but it was all because of avoiding cows. And what my issue is, feeding the cows. They would rush the feeder when I was dumping the corn in, and it was a hanging one that you walked on, you know, and it just scared the daylights out of me as a, you know, 7-year-old to have these big cows. Yeah, I didn't want to get, and my dad would say, don't fall off and get trampled, you know, and tell those kind of farmer horror stories that you get, you know, from don't do this. And so, yeah, I grew up just kind of respecting how big they are and that they could trample me, you know. So I'm just letting you guys know how much of a chicken I am through this whole show. I'm losing all respect.
My uncle is a veterinarian, and I spent summers with him a lot. And one summer day, I come downstairs, and there was a cow in the living room.
What? I'd be like, what?
like, get out. So, is anybody else hearing this, or is this just me?
I'm hearing it. It's probably something ghost or alien coming through.
We have had that happen. We've had more so when I'm home. My normal two co-hosts, Greg does co-host with me some. Don't let him fool you. Have heard people talk through the microphone that I don't hear until I play back. Mm-hmm. And then one night I kept feeling something messing with my hair, and the lady, she says, well, do you see it? And I'm like, no, but can you tell it to stop? And I leaned into the camera, and you could see my hairs going back.
Okay,
stop. Stop.
Stop. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually have something like that's in my house. At first, I thought it was
a cow.
No, it's not a cow. I don't have cows. There's no cows.
You got Virgil excited.
There's no horses. There's a dog. You know, there is a dog, but at night, we would start hearing things in the basement, and we had just moved. You know, just built a house. It was brand new. So I would go downstairs armed, and I was expecting to confront somebody, right? Yeah. And of course, lo and behold, there's nobody there. And I'm like, after about 5 or 6 times of doing this, I'm like, must be something else. So eventually one day I actually saw what it was. It was just like a blob of something. Don't know what it was. Like, blob of plasma or something just kind of shot across the floor. And I saw it a couple of times. And one time before I had seen it, I thought it was a mouse or something. I'm like, dang it, but I saw it 2 other times, and I got a really good look at it, and it was, it's undefined shape, what I'll call it. But anyway, so it started. Somebody had mentioned about what do you do when they start affecting your daily life, and I just made peace with it. I was just like, hey, sometimes it walks around in the bathroom in our master bedroom, and it was like, hey, cut it out. I'm trying to sleep, and it'll stop. And there's other people's heard. They've heard it talking. It's apparently a female of some sort. They've heard a female voice. So that's been heard several times. So.
You
but
were
nothing.
Saying that we talk about bases. I interviewed a firefighter on one of the shows. I'm also a retired fire medic, and they kept getting a call that the smoke alarm was going off, and his house gave him the creeps when they got there. And finally, his captain's like, "Can we just see the smoke alarm? And maybe it's a wire, or you need a battery or something." And he's like, "Yeah, it's in the basement." That's how bad horror stories start. They go down there. And the thing shuts off as soon as they come down there, and they're like, what the hell? And then they start seeing this smoke come up. As firemen, when you see smoke, you investigate. And they found some, like a crime scene.
Eek. And
the smoke, as soon as they saw it, it was going up towards the smoke detector. They're trying to figure out it's a crime scene. Now they're like, okay, it ended up, there was a body down there. And they were like, okay, we got to get out of this basement, but what is that smoke? And it would just come from that one spot and go up. And when they were there, the smoke detector wouldn't go off. But every time they'd leave and come back, they'd be like, your smoke detector's going off and send an alarm. And like I said, the captain was finally like, maybe it's just a wire or something. We're tired of coming out here. And so they went out and called the police. It was actually a crime scene.
Wow.
There was a body in there, and that was his freaky story. And it is weird, but maybe that was their way of saying, hey, find me.
Letting him know.
Yeah.
Huh.
Everybody calls the fireman. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they are or what the problem is. They all call the fireman. So,
yeah. Come look at this. Oh, wow.
Huh. Yeah, that would have freaked me out. But yeah, they realized when they were down there, they were like, oh, there's something not right. It's a crime scene. We got to go out. But they watched it. He said, we watched the smoke. It would go up and it wouldn't go off. And we were like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's trippy. Huh.
Yeah, I'd have turned in my resignation after that. So
be done. Well, I used to when I was a kid, my mom and dad divorced when I was young, and my mom married again and had a much younger brother, 11 years younger than me. And we moved to this house in town, in this small town in Ohio. It was across from the mortuary. And this house was really interesting, old 100-year-old, typical basement, 2-story, big old rambling box house. Upstairs, you'd go from where it was nice and temperate downstairs, you'd go upstairs and you'd go into this big open room that me and my stepbrother, we were little kids, we would share this first kind of opening room. And it had red wallpaper, and they'd wallpapered the ceiling red too. And it was really weird. And there was this little tiny attic door talking about little people off to the side that went into this side attic. And I never felt comfortable in this house. And then there were 2 rooms off of this main thing. One was each of my brother and my stepbrother had them. One was, it was these vertical stripe wallpaper that you walk in and you're dizzy. And his room was always boiling hot. And then you'd walk into my brother's room and it had really weird, just kind of a bright, icky, weird blue wallpaper. And it was freezing cold. Oh, almost see your breath in the winter. And this house was always so weird. And I just was always uncomfortable with it. And eventually we lived there only like 6 months. There were dead cats, unfortunately, kept showing up in the swimming pool. It was like, what is going on in this house? Well, we moved away after a short time. And years later, I was talking to my mom about it, saying, I never was comfortable in that house. And she said, yeah, we weren't really either, especially when I woke up one night and saw the old woman leaning over your baby brother's crib. And I was like, you could have mentioned that. And she goes, we saw her a couple more times come down the stairs and then go in their room and look over the crib. And I was like, you could have said something about that, because there was weird stuff I felt upstairs, just it was a real creepy house. So it was I think back on that place, and I have created in a story. There's a house I did with that kind of wallpaper, and then the red, just kind of playing off that whole feel of, what that felt like being in that house, and then trying to put that on the page. So, yeah, I no offense, to mortuaries, but that made me think I don't think I ever want to live too close to one again.
No, well. My mom's house that I'm staying in right now is actually, there's a cemetery right there. It's like literally right across the street. So, but yeah, nothing's happened here. Now say that and the ceiling fan will fall on my head tonight or something.
Yeah.
Well, we'll remember we have this recorded, so we can share that,
Mm-hmm. Bet they're quiet neighbors though.
Absolutely. It's so it's so different coming here from Atlanta because it is dead quiet out here. I looked up and I saw the stars. I'm like, what is that? You don't see this anymore.
What are those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep you much longer because you came on early and I don't want to keep you all night. And I really appreciate you coming in. You're great. We'd love to have you back some more.
I'd love to come back. There's, man, I love talking about the paranormal, supernatural, all of that. My sister and I watch Ancient Aliens and, discuss some of that. The book I'm currently writing is down in the Yucatan and playing with the idea of, the Maya have this whole mythology, religion they believed in, and with the idea for these stories that I do is what if that's real? What if it's not just mythology? What if they saw things and they experienced things, and what if there were vortices, ley lines, what have you were there and they were witnessing and they were recording it and we're going, oh, it's their mythology. This is the religion stuff they believed in, the gods. And it's like, what if there were things like that, and so playing with that on the page is a lot of fun. So I love to, hear the different tales of what people have experienced, out and about in the woods. Not that I'll be there. I'll watch it and listen.
Oh, come on, you can come with us. We're safe with you.
I'd be so bad.
Yeah, Cheyenne even said that she was going to be bait one day.
Yeah, we'll put her out there.
Gosh.
We'll
throw
you were
her
talking about that, but I've heard people talking about that there's people that live amongst us and they're calling them cryptid humans. Now it's a new term. And so they're like, it's another race or another culture that's with us, but we can't see it, or they blend in to where we think they're like, and I'm like, I haven't got a guest on about that yet, but that's a new term I just recently heard talking about cryptid or cryptic humanoids.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah. I mean, but we would be idiots. Well, this is my opinion, I guess I should say. I think we would be idiots to go out and look up at the stars and think we're the only fish in this fishbowl.
Oh boy, I just read an article about and one of the spaceship satellite. They're done. It's finally run out of juice, and so it's not going to be sending back. It's a European satellite, I think it was, or something they've sent up, but that it's recorded over 1 billion stars or billion something in the Milky Way galaxy alone. You start going out and it's just mind-boggling, to think what all, what all's out there, what's going on.
We're specks of dust,
Yeah,
in the big picture.
I know. I love that visual of us, Earth circling, flying through space at this certain, swirling or spiraling the whole time, and hold on, it's kind of fun. The whole idea of that, and we think, oh, the stars are just moving around, but really what's happening, it's kind of interesting. So yeah, don't get me started on space. I documentaries all the time on all that too. I'm become a junkie and I'll start going down. And I always say to my husband, if I can, when I leave this body, go somewhere, I'm going up to Mars and I'm going to fix the little rovers with the broken wheels because I feel so bad that they're stuck up there all alone. I'm going to fix them if I can. And then get them
with a flat tire.
And I'm going to wipe off the sun, the so they can get energy from the sun again. I'm going to wipe off those solar
panels.
Yes, thank you. The solar panels, clean them so they can get moving again because I feel so bad. And then I'm going to go find Voyager 2, is it? Whatever, way the hell out there in space, and go because I feel bad for it. It's all alone, so far out there. Just floating along. So he's always like, they're objects.
Have you all in your area seen any drones? Has that been a thing?
No, I haven't. I saw 5 Blackhawks fly over today. That was interesting, but no drones. Nothing like that here. Not like what they were saying, happened with I think in New Jersey, was it, where they saw? Yeah. Nothing. We're up in the mountains in Arizona. I think we're a little bit in the boonies or something. But hey, isn't it up in the mountains in Arizona where the big what's that show where movie where the guys were taken? Oh, there was a movie they made back in like the 80s or 90s, abducted by aliens up here in the Arizona mountains.
Yeah, Fire in the Sky.
Bingo, thank you. I feel like we're on a game of $25,000 pyramid, and I keep describing stuff because I can't think of the name, and you guys are like, Fire in the Sky. Yes, that's it. We get more
Travis
points.
Walton.
But anyway, yeah, that was a fun, interesting movie.
Yes. Oh, and kudos to you, by the way. Supertramp, Breakfast in America is my favorite album. So.
Oh man, I love that too. We listen to that when we travel all the time. Sometimes I can't listen to the Logical song though. It's depressing in some ways because it's like, oh, it's right, man. We started out so happy and open, and then they, made it so we had to get logical and cynical and all that. But it's great, good stuff.
Absolutely. And before we get out of here, or before you get out of here, or however this works, this has actually kind of worked out well because it's kind of cool. You all bouncing ideas off of each other. I'm sure he's going to check out your books and you're going to check out his movies.
I'm going to go. Yeah,
most definitely.
I want to go see the film. So yeah, this has been really fun. I'm so glad, Greg, you didn't mind me being here when you came online. So
yeah, well, it was sort of all my fault, but everything happens for a reason, though.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. I was paying attention because I was going to watch you and watch how, listen to you and watch the show until I came on. But then I was like, well, I can come on if I need to. So it was great.
Everything happens for, and that might not be a bad idea for a show. Just not tell each guest and give them the same time and go, hey,
you're both here.
I've had some people that their head was so big that it would have been a problem, but
yeah, it has to have a satellite view to get them all in. Right?
Yeah.
Most people are, especially when they're coming on a show, and I'm a little guy in this show world, they're really down to earth. So, but I enjoy doing this.
Just very uppity.
Oh, yeah. Sir, you drugged me to Alabama, sir.
I sure did, and then kicked you out of the theater.
That's right. So go over there and get barbecue. Go on. But tell everybody, Ann, where they can find your stuff, please.
I have a website, anncharles.com. So anncharles.com, and on there you can find the books, all the different books and links. And then I don't write blogs, but on the blog, I put all, like this interview, we have a place for interviews I've done and newsletters and all that kind of stuff too. So, and I'm out there on social media. I'm not as active as I should be because I'm older. And so I have other things. My nephew, wonderful guy. He's like, years ago, you need to be on a little bit more. And I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, please, no cows. No. But anyway, yeah, I'm out there on Facebook, Instagram, Blue. What's the new one? Blue Sky. I think I just signed on to start going on that one too. And just, I do have a thing on X, I guess it is now, but I'm not very active over there. Just, you spread too thin, you try to hit it all and you can't. So I have to focus in. Yeah,
you can't do it. And it's like, you got to do, some people just do the Instagram or the TikTok or you can't do it all. It's
not and write or be creative, and do stuff. It's a little too much. I'm envious of those who are so talented that they do singing and dancing or something on, and they get quite a following.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want me to
does
sing,
that from time to time.
It's only with the alcohol. But my wife pushes me. She says, you need to do more TikToks. You need to do more TikToks. And then one of our other co-hosts on here, Bobby Dizzle, he was in the chat earlier. He's been pushing me to do more YouTube shorts. And so I made up like 2 or 3 little stupid ones and put them up. Had nothing to do with paranormal stuff. Got like 3,000 views.
Wow.
I made one about my football team winning and the other team sucking. Got hate mail. I'm like, shit, I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, really.
So, but yes, Ann, you're more than welcome to come on anytime you want. Now, open invitation. We would love to have you back. Hey. If I'm shorthanded, I'll email you one night and say, hey, you want to come on?
Yeah, definitely. If I'm open, I'm happy to jump on. I've got my whole thing set up here. I can just hop on and hang out. So yeah, keep me in mind, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I do with Greg too.
Yeah.
That's what I said when you were saying I don't want to step on his toes. I'm like, nah, Greg's a friend. He's hopped on here. As matter of fact, he was in the chat one night and he was like watching me stutter and stammer, and he's like, "Can you send me the link, Glenn, so you can shut up?"
I did not.
He was a little politer, but
Oh.
and you have a great
Ruined my
night.
reputation.
And yeah, everybody thinks you're just that nice guy. And thank you so
I am
much.
a nice guy.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on, and please come back again. And I'm going to probably email you and get some tips on writing books, because I'm trying to bang the keyboard a little bit with science fiction paranormal thing I'm doing. So
All right, great. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. It was nice to meet you, Greg, and talk to you. And thank
Good to
you,
meet
Glenn.
you.
And I will hopefully see you around somewhere and more paranormal stuff. Let's go out and, have some fun. But I'm not going with you, Greg, in the woods. So forget it.
oh, come on.
All right.
Hey, you could push him in the
Listen
portal.
out.
I would
Yeah,
be
that's
like,
right.
here you go, Bigfoot. Take him. I'll run the other way. As soon as you grab him, I'm out. All
Not
right.
if I
Well,
shoot the keg up under you.
all right. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you
All right,
later.
Ed.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Good meeting you.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Greg,
a hoot.
thank you. Like you said, everything happens for a reason. So
It does. It does. I thought this was a good show.
it was. Yeah, I was expecting I don't want to say a train wreck, because I had to drive I got up at like 4 this morning, and you've driven through Atlanta, 2 hours to get out of Atlanta, then to drive to Knoxville, and I'm just like drained. And then
Oh my God, you're in the two worst places.
yeah, Amanda couldn't show up, which is fine. I get it. I'm not upset in any way. And I was like, oh man, I was really needing somebody to pull me, because there's just not enough caffeine, but it worked out great.
Oh, it worked out, just fine. I was on another podcast, and I just gotten off, and went and got me something to drink, and I come back and I'm like, oh crap, it's time for Glenn's podcast. So I was frantically looking through all of my emails, and I'm like, where's the freaking link? I took forever to find the link. I wasn't slacking. I honestly couldn't find the link. And then I just overlooked it, was all.
Oh, I was just giving you grief earlier. I wasn't.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, I thought, well, maybe he forgot, or I thought, well, heck, I better check on him. And I was like, I'll message him in a little bit, make sure he's okay, that you didn't fall in the portal or something. So
no, I didn't forget. I honestly couldn't find the link, and it was me being panicked, because I was, 10 minutes before I was supposed to go on, and I like to come on at least 15 minutes or so beforehand usually, and I couldn't find the link, and I was just getting panicked. I was like, oh my God. So,
and
what
usually,
ADD does.
yeah, well, usually I have somebody to tell me if the microphone, especially new setup, is the microphone loud enough? Is this and everything? I was like, I'm just going in. So
everything was great. I mean, I thought it was a really good show. She was an incredible guest.
She is. She's very intelligent.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I love her storylines.
Me too. She was an incredible guest, and I thought it went well.
And you need to get out there and drag her out in the woods to find. Well, out there would it be what, chupacabra? What's out in her neck of the woods?
Find that skinwalker.
There you go. You can keep that thing. So
yeah, I don't want no part of it.
Yeah, no. So great, and you've got your website up working now. I saw.
Yes. Yes.
So you had some problems coming out of the gate because so many people.
I did.
I assume.
Yeah. The eBay sold out.
Oh wow!
And there was a lot of traffic there at first, and I would like to say there was so much traffic that it crashed it, but there's just my tech wasn't quite savvy enough to put everybody in the right spot at the right time. but got all of that figured out now. So everybody should just go to one link. It's like relicfilmsmedia.com, and that's it. And you can
Good
get
deal.
all of it there.
Good deal. And we had a great time there, and nobody else, as far as I know, saw the little orb come out of the screen. So it may have just been a piece of dust, but it was the weirdest thing, because I literally looked around to see if anybody else saw it.
Wow. You know, I half the time I was throwing popcorn at Dizzle's daughter.
Yes, that's right.
She sat right next. Well, she asked me to sit next to her, so you know I did, and I made Dizzle move. So I had this big old thing of popcorn. Every once in a while, I'll just reach in and just throw at her. That was so much fun.
Oh gosh, it was such a great event. I didn't know what to expect at first. I was like, well, is this going to be like the red carpet and all that? And I was talking to Bobby. He's like, it's Alabama, for God's sakes, Glenn.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was like, do I need to rent a tux or anything, Bobby? But no, it was a good time.
It was fun. I agree. It was fun. It was a lot of work putting all that together. And I was so panicked because we were not supposed to be in that theater. We were supposed to be in Theater 3, which was across the hall from there. Now, Theater 3, the everything was perfect on the screen. That morning, that particular projector decided to crap out. That morning, I'm like, holy freak. And I was really sweating whether or not they could even get it up on the screen or not. But they got it where it was, okay. You could still see the parts, the best parts, but not everything was centered, and there was some, centering stuff that was framing, I guess that's what you call it, some framing issues.
Well, you probably noticed it more than anybody. So.
Oh my God, yeah, I was so. At first, I was like, "Oh my God, this is terrible," and then I was like, "Nobody else is going to notice." So it's just a few of the heads was like chopped off, and I'm like, I had to, especially like Anna Kaywood, or Anna Jones, I had to go over and say, I said to her, "Listen, Anna, I promise we are not that bad of filmmakers. We're not that bad a cameraman. We didn't cut your head off. That was just the framing issue that the theater had, and because it was designed." When you shoot for the big theater, you have to should be shooting on a different camera, like a Red or something like that. The cameras that we were using was not designed to go on the big screen, and it just creates the issues that we had. So
yeah. Well, you pulled it off. I think it was great. I mean,
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Everybody I talked to was a great time. And you were so exhausted, but
I was.
You were stressed.
I was.
Yeah, I could tell you were, but it was such a good time. It was good to meet so many of the people too. So
I tried to make it sort of like a mini conference where all of the bigger names would show up, and they could interact with the people, with the people that were in the cast, so that was my goal, to make it like a mini conference. And if not for all of the cancellations from out in the Missouri area, it would have been a completely packed house. I had probably 30 cancellations. Telling me that, hey, can't make it, because of the weather.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it's going to be hard to make up that many tickets, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it was a great time. I think it was. I mean, I know you probably for revenue needed more, but I thought it was just perfect. So I mean,
yeah. I guess I broke even. I didn't make any money on it. Probably broke even. If I'd lost any, it wasn't much. But with the other the 30 or so cancellations, that would have been that would have been better.
Yeah.
But it wasn't money. It wasn't a money generating thing. It was a party. It was a celebration. And I'm happy with it. Absolutely happy with it.
Yeah. And we don't do this stuff for the money. So, I mean,
No, I don't. Nobody's going to get rich off this. I just want enough so I can, when you use the cameras and all the other stuff, they eventually wear out, and you have to go and repurchase more cameras and audio equipment and all this other stuff. So I just need enough to justify being able to go get more equipment and being able to continue what I'm doing.
yeah, buy more toys. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
buy
all
more
I
toys.
said, doing this. I'm not going to get rich, and I was a firefighter, paramedic. Didn't plan on doing this, but I want to make enough money to either buy some toys to record stuff out there or to have some, different stuff. So that's all I'd really like to do. So yeah. And one day I would like to learn some of your skills with the shooting and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be able to see me when I'm. Are you going to the outing in February?
What to be determined because of fear.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, and it's I'm kind of in the same boat too. So.
Yeah, initially I was, but things changed. So
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
But,
Well, I mean, you'll be able to see me, and I give you some hands-on stuff, hands-on training that took me years to learn. But it's a whole lot better if somebody can just sit and tell you what to do.
oh,
Say, "Hey,
absolutely.
yeah,
well, it's
just do this, just do that."
Well, this stuff was even Greek to me. I mean, I had to call my son and be like, okay, what do I do? My computer says it can't talk to his or that. And then I was lucky I had Ross, and I haven't mentioned him tonight. Gosh darn it. Everybody, we're live on Yerg's Radio. You can go to yergsradio.com and check us out. We're also on Rainbow Radio. Ross has been a great mentor about teaching me how to set up stuff, and then if me and him get stumped, because he's retired Secret Service agent, we're about the same age, we'll call Kyle, my son. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'm losing my editor, Brent. He's had enough, and he's not going to be with me any longer. It's not anything bad. He's just moving on.
Sure.
So I'm having to relearn some editing, and I've actually started editing the beginning of the third film.
Okay.
Let me share that with you.
No, okay, great.
If I can. Heads up, whatever.
It always has that.
What do I do? Oh yeah, I gotta do the page, right?
Yep.
Hold on. I gotta find what I want to share.
Yeah, don't share the wrong thing. Virgil, are you just trolling me, or just make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe, Virgil. So yeah, right out of the gate. Who was it? I was going through trying to pay attention to the comments because I'm trying to get better about doing that. And somebody right out of the gate was like, "Can you please lift your shirt for me?" I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Just ignore the."
Here we go.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, "Just ignore that."
Oh my gosh!
Well, no, it didn't show up to share. But yeah.
Window. There. Share. Okay. This is very short.
Thank you, Virgil.
Come on. Why isn't it playing? There we go. No, this is the wrong one.
No. I was like, what
That's
is
the
this
death
woman's-
of Betsy. Oh,
I thought you were coming into something new. I was like, hey, you never know.
no, I do actually have something new. Let me find it.
We were I don't were you on the episode where we interviewed the film producer for is it Saving Superman? Yeah, Saving Superman. And he was talking about when they went back through and editing, they found a UFO in the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's like, it's the coolest thing. So, and I was like, you want to share it? He's like, no, not yet. He says, I want to make sure it's edited just right.
Okay, let me find it. I mean, this is really cool, and I would actually like some feedback if anybody's watching.
We still got a half dozen.
I'm having to relearn how to edit, and my style is a little bit different than. It's a lot of bit different than Brent's.
Well, I think that that makes a difference when you're working with other people. Like Bobby and I, when he's co-hosting with me, he has such a different way of doing things than I do. I think it's kind of good to bounce and do things like that with other people and learn their way of doing it.
Okay, now I think I've gotten it.
Plus, I just like to harass the Dizzle. So
okay,
it's too much fun.
Take two.
As soon as it tells me to share, I'll hit the button. Yeah, Virgil, make sure you come over to YouTube and find me under the Paranormal Guyz with a Z and subscribe there too, please. Please.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, this is the one. Yes.
Does it have audio?
Not yet.
Okay. I don't understand why it's not playing the audio. Oh, I gotta hit this button. Okay, take 3.
It's kind of creepy.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay. Boop.
Nothing
All
wrong
right,
with
there we
giving a Dizzle grief. Thank you, Virgil. That's cool.
Did you like it?
Yes. I like it. It's kind of that creepy, dark, eerie. Yeah.
See, my style is a bit different than Brent's. I kind of like to build up some drama and let the viewer feel what's going on,
I like it.
So
I like it. I like that a lot. I meant to tell you, the other day I was laying in bed. It was late at night. I maybe was watching a football game or something, and I'm scrolling through and I see this deal on a drone. And it's like I'm reading the reviews and I'm like, oh, I've never had a drone, but this is like a $90 drone. I could probably afford that. And so I'm scrolling. I'm about to put in cart, And so I was like, wait, let me go check over YouTube and look at the reviews. And I went over there and everybody's like, don't waste your money. I was like, oh, I almost had a drone. Because I told Beth, I was like, hey, can we afford if I buy a drone? She's like, well, if it's that much, maybe. I'm like, please, please. So, I'll keep waiting.
Well,
So
sounds like
yeah,
me.
yeah, exactly. That's why your picture with coming up over the Smoky Mountains, the fog, the smoke, yeah,
Mhm.
the mist. That's what made me think of that. Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
So,
And there's places out there where you can get drone footage. If you're just making something that and you want a visual to help describe the feel of what's going on, they've got B-roll that is fantastic drone footage. Some of it you have to pay for, and some of it's free. Um, and in the Land Between the Lakes, we did that around, like with people telling the stories and whatnot,
mhm.
instead of going out and finding a farm and some dead animals and stuff like that on our own. We just paid for, it paid for the shots. It's a lot
Yeah.
cheaper.
You might. That's probably not a good thing to do. Virgil,
Yeah.
you just calm down. There's no reason to. It's just cows, man. It's just cows. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is views of Greenland. That wasn't where that.
No,
The
that was not green. That was the
yeah.
Smoky Mountains.
Yes. Okay. That's what the first thing that came to mind. So,
That was
okay.
the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
So
And
the whole thing is about missing people and the mystery and what's happening, and it's quite ominous in some of these places. So
mhm.
I'm trying to deliver that feeling of it. And I'll adjust some of the timing and whatnot with the opening captions, but um, so far I like the way it's starting out, and I've got about 30-40% of it filmed already. So
Oh,
every day
cool.
every day I'm going to come in and start working on a little bit of the footage every day, and maybe by this time next year it'll be ready to publish.
Cool. Have you interviewed David Pilates by any
I
chance?
have not. I have tried to reach out to David Pilates, and he's not responded. So I
I,
may
I
just have to not
I
have
will try
David.
again. I will try again. I had a
Mhm.
friend of a friend, and I he almost came on, but he obviously didn't. So
Mhm.
I will reach out again because I'd like to
Mhm.
have him on because well, I've met him up at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot thing
Mhm.
and talked to him, and I've seen his presentation, I guess, and it's fascinating.
Right.
His backstory about why he got into it is fascinating too. So
Mhm.
if you don't
Yeah,
mind,
I think he would actually um, add a lot to the film. Um, particularly when it comes to the backstories, the history, and whatnot, uh, because y- I want to actually go out and investigate in these areas and not just have talking heads about it.
Mhm.
uh, we can do podcasts all day long about it, but a lot of documentary makers, they only like to do uh, interviews, and they don't actually go out and investigate. I like to put boots on the ground and investigate,
Mhm. Yeah,
see what I
and
can find. So I'm not going to give away too much about what I've got in the film, but I think it's going to be very interesting.
I hope so.
I'll keeping things unique, and this is not going to be a Cryptic Expedition series film yet, so to speak, because there's going to be other elements to what's happening there.
Good Lord, they'll just let anybody on this screen.
Sure will.
Warren, Greg Warren.
How you
Um,
doing, Warren?
What's going on, Greg?
he's one of my original misfits, Greg. Well,
Oh, okay.
you might have met. Have you talked to Erin by chance? Because she's got some creepy stories about the Smoky Mountains.
Yes, we have, and actually, she's going to be in the film.
Oh, sweet. And
Mhm.
Warren out in his area, I can't pronounce your town name, but it's in Oklahoma. You got some creepy stories and stuff going on out there too.
Yeah, there's definitely what Greg's describing, or what he described earlier, was I mean, that's just dead on tales for turkey folklore. And yeah, I could tell you quite a few of them. Like I like to pick your brain and or watch your films and see exactly what you've got on tape. So that'd be
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, you know, and like I was telling Glenn, everything we do, what you see is what you get. It's all real. Uh, there's nothing staged or anything about it, and it's just. But the Land Between the Lakes is absolutely phenomenal footage. Um, but you know, I was telling somebody about this earlier in the podcast earlier today that there's so much footage in it that we have. We actually had to leave some stuff on the table and didn't put in the film, like Kristen's Bigfoot that she caught on thermal. We had to leave it out. I've got some very good footage of UFOs. Had to leave it out. It just you know it just didn't fit. You know, so.
Yeah. Well, that was great footage that Kristen got. That was good. That was phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we like I said, we tried to work it in, but it just you know by the time I'd gotten that footage and where it was, you know, where the film was, it's difficult to weave it back in for it to make sense, you know. So we thought it for consistency and just flow, we just elected to leave it out. But it's phenomenal footage, and I'll use it again.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put her in another film.
She let us share it the weekend that y'all came back. She's like, "You can use this if you want." And I'm like, "Oh." So
That's good.
we play, yeah. And Bobby slowed it down and made it larger, and it's very good.
Mhm.
So
It is. It's good. Very good.
I was like, "Dang it, I missed another good one." So
Warren, where are you at, Warren? In Oklahoma?
I'm in eastern Oklahoma.
And what you telling me about the what we were seeing was like the little people, Cherokee?
Yeah, and Cherokee folklore, they tell other little people basically translated from Cherokee to English.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, glowing lights in the forest, red eyes. Have you ever been lost? Or, I mean, have you been in the woods and just lost your way all of a sudden, can't find your way back?
I haven't. Other people that I know have. I'm very vigilant as far as I don't go off the beaten path, number one. At night, I will stay on a trail, and I always keep very bright lights with me just in case something like that happens. But I will not go off the beaten path because of some of the things that can happen. But I do know other people that get out there and all of a sudden they're very disoriented. It happened to Trey Hudson. He was very disoriented where he was. Okay, it happened to you. But it's not happened to me yet. I've had missing time though.
They like you.
Mine was really weird. The way it happened to me. We were out four-wheeling and my buddy was like, "Well, let's go check and see if this campsite's open. If it's free, we'll go down there." And he's like, "Well, instead of both of us having to back up the forest road, I'll just get on the radio and I'll tell you it's okay." And literally my wheels were already pointed to go right down the hill to the campsite, less than a football field away. And he called me on the radio, said, "Yeah, it's clear to come on." An hour and a half later, I'm like, "Where am I?" I was still on a forest road, but I was miles away from where I was supposed to be. And I literally, the wheels were already turned to go down the forest or the little road to that little campsite. That was the weirdest thing. That was the weirdest thing. So.
You know, there was a time Janice and I went down a trail and and I don't know what to call this. There was this bluish haze, bluish purplish haze, and there was these orbs that was around it, right? So we thought at the time, maybe this was a portal, didn't know what it was. So we observed it for what we thought was 30, 40 minutes. Okay. And it was our operating procedure to go out at minimum in pairs and for about an hour, right? So when we got back, Janice and I got back to camp. Both, Brent and her son was there, and they said, "Hey, why were y'all gone so long? Y'all were sitting over there talking in the dark." They heard us talking, which we were half a mile away. They didn't hear us doing anything, but they thought we were just out of firelight from the campfire talking. Well, they asked us why we were gone so long. I'm like, "What are you talking about? We was gone maybe an hour." And they're like, no. You were gone it's been hours. Yeah, hours. And then we're like, no. So when we left, it was about midnight. Okay. And after we got through arguing for 15 or 20 minutes, the sky started to lighten up and the sun was fixing to come up. And we're like, oh crap, we were gone for 4 or 5 hours. And really from both of our perspectives, we were gone for maybe an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, but both Brent and her son said the whole time they could hear us talking just right outside firelight, but we were nowhere near camp. Yeah. I mean, that was weird. So no, I haven't lost my way, but I've lost time.
So that
That's definitely. I mean, so you see orbs, right? Or
yeah, I see them pretty often. Yeah, see them often.
Do your fellow people see them as well?
Mm-hmm. Now they do.
Even great.
Now they do. At first they didn't. Now they do. At first it was just me seeing them.
They like you. What color?
When I first started seeing them, they were the white with a blue hue. I did see what I thought was tail lights out in the forest early on, and I didn't know what an orb was. Okay, so it was a while before I knew what I had seen early on, which was they were just red orbs, right? And I thought it was a truck out there for some reason, or a car. And we walked over to where it was, just out in the middle of the woods. And I'm like, crap, there's no road here. That was weird. And that's what I thought. But for the rest of the time, what I was seeing was a white with a blue hue, and they became more and more prominent and numerous. I've seen. A lot of times there's just one at a time, and then other times there've been I've seen like up to 6 or 7 at a time. So,
yeah, what you were describing. I mean, here in eastern Oklahoma, where the Cherokee settled, it looks just like Appalachia, but here the caves, caverns, quartz, limestone. And me growing up was, my bloodline's Cherokee. I come from a pretty unique bloodline. But when I was younger, I don't remember this, but I would talk to things that weren't there. And my mom took me to our, medicine man to blind me, so I couldn't see them no more. But they would or Mom and Granny would say that I would talk to stuff on the couch. I would play with things at night.
Mm-hmm. When you were a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
In the forest, all this other stuff. How are your dreams? I'll change subject. How are your dreams? Like when you're
like when I'm out in the woods?
Yeah. How are your dreams?
Actually, I don't remember my dreams when I'm out in the woods. When I'm back home, I have more vivid dreams, but that's because I'm trying to access the Akashic records a lot and trying to find out who I am, who I was, and so on and so forth. And then I actually do have some really, weird dreams.
Define weird.
One of them that I remember is I was at a what I thought was my house, and there was some construction and stuff going on, and a battle started happening up in the sky. And so I looked up, and there were two races or something going at it with aircraft, and I'm like, okay, we got to get out of here. So I take my family, we get on a train somehow, and we ride the train across these lakes. And I remember looking at these bridges, and these bridges were very advanced looking design bridges. I'm an engineer by trade, and I'm a traffic engineer. So I'm very used to looking at lots of different bridge designs, right? So, and these bridge designs was nothing like I had ever seen before. And, looking at them, I could understand their functionality. It made sense about them, if that makes any kind of sense. I'm like, I know this design would work. Okay. So I remember seeing these extremely advanced bridge designs, and we got off to almost like a FEMA camp like place. And then I remember seeing these alien-like creatures, but nobody knew exactly what they looked like because they had some kind of suits on. And then they communicated to me that, y'all stay here. We're bombing the people on the other side of these lakes, and you guys are going to be safe. And then they started destroying all the bridges so that the people on the other side couldn't get up. And then we figured out that we were like being herded like cattle, and we tried to escape. And as we were trying to escape, family and I trying to escape, I think we were shot, or of some like, not like with bullets, but like lasers or something. And I think I remember this very, very vividly. That dream was very vivid. So I think they showed me like who I either was in another life, whether it be past or present. I'm not sure.
Reincarnate.
That's an example. Yeah.
What color were they?
What's it? The alien things?
Yeah.
Okay. Not.
They weren't purple, were they?
I don't think they were purple. But they had a head that kind of went up and out, kind of like that. And I don't know if it was a helmet or just the way their body was shaped, but the head kind of went up, it kind of mushroomed out a little, but with pointed edges. And their forehead was a little bit more extended. And they had some kind of body. The body suits were iridescent. They were iridescent. So you would see all the colors in it, depending on what angle you were looking at it. And they had like not cubes, but maybe honeycomb looking designs on them.
That's let me see. One more question I ask. How many stars or not stars, but suns were in the sky? Do you see anything like that? Because what you're describing, I've had dreams of something like that. Not being, with a dream, just keep going with it. They were purple, rather large.
Yeah, these were very large. Yeah.
And in the sky there was 3 suns, but one was cracking, or one was, I don't know how to describe it. It was.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it depends on your angle of what these things look like, because of their suits. At some point you could say that they were purple, but at some point they would be yellowish, and some point, you know what iridescence is, right?
Define it for me.
Okay, iridescence. Okay, like some beetles have it, or like you take oil and you put an oil on top of water.
Got
And
you. Yeah, kind of like a heat treated
yeah.
metal. You gotta just shift it and
Yeah, yeah. Like a
hologram. A
bismuth is like,
hologram.
yeah, bismuth is like that. Take it's multicolored depending on the angle that you're looking at it.
Wow, that was deep. All right. I've had dreams like that. Very similar.
Warren, before you go, I'm still live. I mean, I can end this if you want me to. So
No, man, keep going. Let's get on tape.
okay. Okay.
Stranger
I
meets
just wanted to
stranger.
make
Let's bond.
I just didn't want you to say anything that, you won't be able to run for president or something, but go ahead.
Oh no. I'm quite happy with where I'm at. But no, with just listening to you talk and everything like that. Or incarnate past lives, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Your dreams, stuff happening to you where you're at, land between the legs or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar here. We were told, not to go alone in the woods. That was instilled by.
Mm-hmm. I can
don't
see
go
that.
alone.
I can see that.
I would.
Well,
I would.
I would, but however, sometimes you hear things, particularly disembodied voices. More than one person has heard my voice calling them, and I was nowhere near around.
That's what they do.
Yeah, like in particular, it was Janice and another guy named Paul. Both of them heard the same thing. I have a tendency to address people saying, "Hey, so and so." So Janice heard, "Hey, Janice," and Paul heard, "Hey, Paul." And there was more than one witness that heard that. It's particularly, "Hey, Paul." There were several witnesses that heard that, and like I say, it was my voice, but I was nowhere near any of those locations. So mimicry is a real thing.
Yes, it is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Mhm.
when I was younger, like I would go in the woods. I'd walk down the hill to the creek and fish, or I'd go to a pond. But I remember one day when I came back, my sister was freaking out, and it was my voice in the house, and whatever it was, hey, like it was messing with her.
Mm-hmm.
TV went off. It was just that house I've had where I was raised, my grandma's house. A lot of paranormal stuff happened there. And like I would love to I wanted like Glenn out actually like the entire just have, it's kind of like your land between the legs type deal.
Mm-hmm.
See who's receptive, see what happens. Excuse me. I've had some crazy EVP stuff happen there. Crazy dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got an EVP one time that was really, it freaked me out because it was when I first started all this. I set a recorder out, and unfortunately it was in May. So it was a whippoorwill landed about that far away from it. So I don't know if you know what a whippoorwill is, but they're very loud. They go on and on and on all night. Yep. So anyway, I started hearing these Indian chants and this drumming, this doom 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 doom. This very rhythmic drumming and these chants. And I was like, "Holy crap! Am I picking up a radio station or something? Did I record a radio station?" And finally, I was like, "No, nobody around here plays this music." It was like if you go to a powwow and you hear the you know, just the classic drums, and they're doing a dance out in the middle of the I don't know what they call it. It's the circle, the dance circle. I forgot what to call it. Anyway,
I know what you're
it's,
talking about.
yeah, it's just like that. It was just like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like,
All right,
wow.
so
Did I
you're obviously, oh, sorry to interrupt. You're obviously very receptive, and just what you're talking about, they like you.
Yeah.
Apparently, you mean no harm or whatever, but if you do
Right.
cross the
I don't
line,
mean
that's
any-
where
Mm-hmm.
there's a line you can't cross. I'll just warn you. But
Mm-hmm.
we were always told never to talk about them because they can always hear you, and once they know, like they know. We were told never to speak their name out loud, just to brush it off because,
You're talking about little people or orbs?
yeah. But
Little
I've obviously I'm breaking
I've
the
heard
law right now.
I've heard the same thing. You know, when I was first started doing the research in my first film, I can't. You know, I was with the local Cherokee here, and they were saying the same thing. That they wouldn't say their names. Or, you know, that they wouldn't say what they were because they said you would attract them, and you know, then they said they're tricksters or whatever, and
Not all of them.
yeah. Well, I haven't had a bad experience with one at all, ever.
Don't mess with
So-
Spearfinger.
But there's other names for them as well. I mean,
Mhm.
skinwalkers, what you were talking about, shapeshifters,
Mhm.
people that can walk in between. It gets interesting. I mean, I think one of the last episodes I did of Misfits, or one of them, or I talked about it after my mom passed. I started having experiences,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and I forget what episode it is, but I'd rather not talk about it right now. You just have to go back and listen to it, or I'll talk to you off camera about it.
Huh.
Very interesting stuff, man.
Oh, absolutely. Um, you know, I've tried to, I've tried my best to find out what they are. Now, I've been within arm's reach of these orbs on 2 occasions. Within arm's reach, they kind of buzzed me, kind of like a bat would do. You know, a bat comes real close to you and just kind of buzz you and go on. They've done that twice. So I've got really, really good close look at them.
Did it have a sound?
Yeah, you know, they're silent.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, on both occasions, I was looking in their direction, and I saw them materialize, come really, really close, and then dematerialize. You know, just boop and beep and then go. And you know, they were really.
What's your what is it called? Ethnic. What do you come from?
I'm a mixed blood. I got some Cherokee. I got some Irish in me, and I've got a bit of Italian in me. But yeah, I've got a pretty good bit of Cherokee, though. One of my ancestors was on the Trail of Tears, and he escaped the Trail of Tears, and then afterwards he registered as I call it here Black Dutch to keep from being rounded up and being sent back to or sent to Oklahoma.
Well, that sounds like. I mean, maybe it's your blood calling to you. I mean, you go. What is the correct term? Hell, you've heard of people getting a transplant, right? And all of a sudden they start their habits.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't. I don't think it's proven or anything like that. It's my opinion. It's like you obviously genetics from your parents and everything like that. It goes back and it's
About
all
genetic
you.
memory. Yeah.
Exactly. So you go where it's just that calling to you. I mean, if you're having your memory being hurt up like that, that was what happened. That could be a part of your memory coming back from maybe 4. I think it's 4. 4 generations back.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a wonderful ride, whatever it is. I've fully embraced, the ride. I've tried to find out more about it. And, I open myself up to it. I just say, hey, what happens, happens. But I do actively try to open myself up more to find out the what, the who, the why, to learn more, to be able to one day, if I ever do find out what all of this is, then maybe I can relate to everybody else saying, hey, this is what this is. For instance, I've grown away from organized religion from what I was taught when I was a kid, right? I've grown away from that because I'm like, okay, well, for various reasons. I don't want to insult anybody's religions, but, things didn't make sense to me when I was a kid and I was being taught these things. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But later as an adult, and I've started seeing these orbs. Then after my paradigm shifted, things started to make more sense, a lot more sense. And, I think I'm in a very good place, knowing part of, what I am and who I am. And it's I kind of find it my mission to tell these stories and open up other people's minds that, this is a bigger world that we live in. Long ago, the Indians used to talk about, everything has a spirit, right? The spirit of the eagle, the coyote spirit, the tree spirit, the rock spirit, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, at first when I was a little kid, I was like, however, now my paradigm shifted. Okay. I think about the creator. Okay. Well, the creator's got to create everything, right? Well, the spark of the creators and everything. So they were right all along, uh,
Well, whatever you're seeing is, I mean, they like you. I'll say it over and over again, but they like you.
well,
That's a good thing.
yeah, it is a good thing because, I'm going to say that I've had communication with them. They have responded. They have responded to stimuli. Absolutely. There's been times where I sit and we just watch them, and it just gets so late. I'm sitting there, just talking to them and what's the word? Communing with them, that I'm like, okay, it's time to go back to bed. I was like, say, I'm sorry, Mr. Orb, I got to go to bed. And I start walking back to camp, and the orb follows me. So that's happened many a times.
That's cool.
To go back to what you guys were talking about earlier, a shadow trying to enter you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those. Where was that?
It was at the Meadow, and I can't divulge where it is because I signed an NDA.
Yeah.
Oh
me
wow!
too.
All right.
Yeah,
It's a very sacred place. So I'll leave
yeah,
at
it
that.
is. And
It's a very weird place.
it is a very weird place. I had my first, I don't know what to call it other than a psychic experience there. And this was after Bob had passed away. The group and I went over to the Meadow to pay our respects. And this was after the funeral respects. This was after that. And so we did this meditative session, right? And we were instructed to pay close attention to anything that you saw during the meditative session. And you just kind of report back to the group, after it was over. And one of the main things that I saw was this big white orb with a black dot in the middle. And like, yeah, I saw this white orb and a black dot in the middle. I don't know what it was about, but I clearly saw Bob at the end of it. And Trey was like, "Oh, I'll tell you what the white thing is in a minute." So after I got through explaining things, Trey said Bob had seen a UAP or UFO, whatever. It was white and it had a black dot in the middle. I didn't know that story. And it immediately affected me because it affected me with guilt, because I felt like that he had communicated with me to let everybody else know that he was there. And I was like, well, I didn't know him as well as everybody else did. And I was really just drawn with guilt. So much so and I was so disturbed by it that I left immediately. And when I got into the Jeep and I was fixing to go away, I kind of said out loud, I said, "Bob," I said, "why me?" And just as clear as, we're sitting here talking, I heard in my head, he said, "It had to be you." And I said, "What are you talking about? It had to be me." And then we proceeded to have an argument. And
Because you can see them.
yeah, he said, well, eventually he said, "Well, everybody else knew that story, but you didn't." He said it was you. It had to be you to hear that story. And it
So
was the
you
only
could tell
story that he, yeah.
Yeah, you could tell
And
the
then
group
the
that
reason,
everybody would know. Yeah.
yeah. And he said it had to be you, because
makes
if
sense,
it had been anybody else, they had knowledge of that story, and I didn't. I didn't know. But anyway, as I was driving away, the conversation got a little dimmer and dimmer, and eventually faded off. So I've had that experience. So I don't know what to call that.
He joined them.
Yeah, he joined them. And Bob turned into an orb as well. He had experience where he himself
Yes.
collapsed into an orb and went some distance and then manifested back.
I was on dispatch that night, comms that night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
Traveler.
I wasn't there that night, so.
Traveler.
I'm not sure about that, Josh. Oh.
What is word? Back in dream state for me. This has been a couple. It goes on and off with me. Me and my partner moved into a new house, and the first night I went to sleep, and two women. It was they appeared as two women. They were talking about my partner. Like, he looks like Popeye, and yeah, my partner has tattoos on his arm. And I asked the person that rented the house, and she's like, "There's been a couple episodes here, but it's more not so malevolent. Like, if you have bad intentions or something like that, they'll. No, this is their house." So, but all right, back to the other one. Years ago, I went to probably a good 1 year where everything was going crazy. One particular night was very vivid. I traveled in my sleep. It's kind of like that movie Insidious, where the guy can leave his body. I did that. And went to a place, very negative energy. The people around, the earth started to shake. Everybody got scared, including me. I remember getting down. You just hear it, boom, 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 boom. And it's just right there in front of me. It's like there's no use hiding. So as we get up, it's look right in his face. Huge golden one. But it didn't. It was maybe not orb shaped, but it was a humanoid, very, very big. Look up in his face, no eyes, no nothing, but I could hear it. And I said I want to get you. I mean, I would love to get you guys out here. Or
Let's
I mean,
get it.
it
Let's
sounds
get it
like
to Oklahoma, Greg.
I'm always up for good investigations. Just
it's they call it skilly country, right? Or
mhm.
there's a certain area, and a lot of people have experiences there. I'd like to contact her. I mean, maybe get her on the show or something like that. But very fluent Cherokee. She's a generation before me, and she could probably tell you some wild stories, especially about because she grew up where I grew up.
Mhm.
Bring her on. Have her on.
I'll talk
Greg,
to
you
her
could
again.
co-host.
Mhm. Yeah, I found it very difficult at first to talk to some of the Cherokee. When we was making our first film, because they were really reluctant. Some of them were reluctant, and then one of the older ones came up, and then he like grabbed my face or something like that, and started looking at me. He said, "Like you're Cherokee," or he said, "You're
Well,
Indian." Yeah,
well, look at your lines.
yeah.
I've got those too.
Yeah. So he said, he said, then it's okay to talk to him because he said something about our blood or something like that.
One of us.
Yeah. Something along those lines. Yeah. And, after then we had some good talks with people, and that's where we started talking about the little people. And that's the first time I'd ever heard of the little people. And, just lots of stories, just not necessarily about cryptids or anything like that, just good stories, lots of history. I wanted to put a lot of that in the first documentary too, but something told me not to. Just, you get the inner gut feeling, hey, don't put this story in for public consumption.
Well, if you look, I mean, it's kind of, or just the research, or what I've been told growing up. And then there's, I reach out a little further about, it happens all over the world. I mean, you talk Scotland, you talk, Ireland, England, fairies,
Mhm.
dwarves, and stuff like that. You go into the medieval stuff, and it's pretty similar in tale. Caves, caverns, usually rocks, quartz. You see them all the time. Fairies or something going around quartz.
Mm-hmm.
Norse.
Oh, what is that? Sunstone?
Yeah. I'm learning about my Norse, and so yeah.
I thought that's what that was.
Yep.
I've got tons of stuff here.
Oh, my wife's always throwing rocks at me.
Throw them back, Glenn.
Recognize that. But my buddy recognized that.
Turquoise?
Turquoise.
Yeah. Turquoise. Yeah, I've got tons of quartz and amethysts, and I'm kind of a rock hound too. Fossils all over the place. You can see one right there. It's a right there.
Okay.
And it's a jaw of some critter.
That's cool.
If I could make it out there, I could definitely. Well, which if it happens, it happens. If not, not. But get in the area, then I could probably tell you what's there.
Mm-hmm. I've gotten where I can feel them too. If there's something there, you can feel it. It's hard to describe the feeling, but if it's there, you know it's there. And if there's nothing there, you'll know too. I don't know how to describe that feeling, but
I know.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
This probably sound weird, but I'm sensing there's a connection between you two somehow. I don't know how, but
it probably often a blood connection.
More than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Just what you're talking, or just what I've heard you talk about and everything. I was like, I got to talk to this guy. Like, Tonight, especially what you were talking about, I was like, all right, I can't be silent no more. I got to talk to Snoop.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't see your message. I'm sorry, Warren.
No, you're good, man. No worries, man. No
You're
worries.
welcome to come on anytime. No, I didn't see your message. I apologize. So
No, you're good,
yeah,
man.
you're fine to come on anytime. You, Greg, there's a couple of you got an open pass. So yeah.
Mm. Well, I try not to step on anybody else's toes, just like Ann. I thought Ann was a phenomenal guest. You know, it was she had a very, it was a very entertaining show with her. So you hit a home run on that, Glenn.
Yeah. Every now and then I do it. I don't know how.
Mhm.
I'll pull it up. but
Hey,
it's
and
fine.
I'm so sorry I was late, but it worked out good. You know,
No,
my
I think it
mistake
worked out
was
better.
your. Yeah,
I
my
think it worked
mistake
out
was
better.
it worked out very well.
Yeah.
Greg,
You
it was
know,
nice to meet you, man. It's very nice to meet you. I look forward to it. I actually want to go hop off here, and I want to go watch your
Mhm.
flick.
Well, it's a good film. I think you'll be really entertained with it. But like I say, everything in it is true. Everything in it has happened.
Yes.
Everything in it there is 100%
And
real.
headphones
All right.
for that growl.
Yeah, get you some
headphones for
headphones.
that growl. That
Mhm.
growl.
Well, all right,
was-
what's the site one more time? Relicfilms.com?
Relicfilmsmedia.com.
Relicfilmsmedia.com.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, man. All right.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
make
going to
sure
hop
you
off
put the
here.
media, because there's another Relic Films that's trying to steal my thunder.
they're-
All right, man. You got it.
we have
Glenn,
Okay,
I'll-
I'm going to have to get off here too. I've been
Yeah.
on a
Yeah,
podcast ever since 6:00, and it's
we've
almost
almost
11.
run 3 hours. Yeah. So yeah, I gotta get. I'm exhausted.
I am
I'm
too.
supposed to do a
talked out.
radio show tonight, but I don't think I can. I feel so horrible.
Yeah,
so.
I've only got 38 words left in me. So
And I bet all of them start with F. Guys, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Warren, you're more than welcome anytime. I love you, brother. You need
yes,
to get
sir.
back
You
in
too,
here
man.
more.
Back at you.
send me a
And,
friend request, Warren.
Yes, sir. You got it. Right up.
All right.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
too.
Y'all
Good
have a
to
good night.
talking.
I got to go.
All right, bye. All right, everybody. Well, we've had a great episode. Thank you to all my guests. And wow, that was actually you have these episodes every now and then where you're just great. Thank you to everybody that came on. Thank you to Ann. Thank you to Yergs at Ross at yergsradio.com. Rainbow Radio, thank you. WRFN, thank you. And everybody else, we will see you. If we don't see you Saturday, I will see you next Wednesday. I have another great show lined up. So we're going to have a great time. Everybody, good night. We will talk to you soon.